Perfect Summer Podcast, back with the blast. We are live, coming to you live from Louisiana. Double tap, hit the like button, everybody. Perfect Summer Podcast. We are live, coming to you from Shreveport, Louisiana, where we have a mass shooting that's going on right now. We got a lot of news to talk about today. Then Sunday news got everything wrong, but I'm going to get you caught up to speed right now. We're going to talk about the Sunday news, how they're misinterpreting everything that's going on right now. We got that for you. But and also we're going to get to California. We're going to get to California, Eric Swalwell. And we're going to get to Trump winning. I want to say thank you to everybody for double tapping, hitting the like button. Come on in, hit the like button. Let's have a good podcast. Sunday afternoon. This is the Sunday cleanup show. That's what I'm calling it. I'm calling it my Sunday cleanup show. That's what it's going to be. Double tap, hit the like button. The Sunday cleanup show. The Sunday news came on today. A lot of polls talking about Trump is not polling too well, but they seem to leave out everything that we've talked about. All the successes of the Straits of Hormuz being closed. I didn't hear anything about the natural gas. I didn't hear anything about the oil. I didn't hear anything about the oil prices going down. I did hear one faux pas. When somebody tried to ask a question about Trump and about Iran and the oil, what they did mistakenly say is that gas was the same price this time under Biden, but said we wasn't in the Iran war. So the way they tried to frame it was, they said, well, gas was above $4 under Biden at this time, but this is when Russia invaded Ukraine. Very, very different. Russia invading Ukraine, and then America using Ukraine, America and NATO using Ukraine as a proxy. I love the way Trump is talking about NATO today. Have you heard Trump talking about NATO? How he helped NATO with the Ukraine, because the Ukraine was a proxy. If you understand Iran and the Iranian proxies like Hezbollah, what's going on in Lebanon, how we got the ceasefire in Lebanon. Shout out to Donald Trump for getting the ceasefire in Lebanon. #1 podcast on YouTube. Double tap, hit the like button. I know you're happy to see me on Sunday. Sunday. Welcome to Perfect Timing Podcast, the livest podcast on YouTube. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by community guidelines. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy and abide by community guidelines. What you see on the screen behind me is a domestic shooting that's taking place. Fair use, parental guidance is in full effect. I got a beautiful thumbnail, beautiful description, because we're going to have some serious content today. We're starting in Shreveport, Louisiana, with a mass shooting. I believe it's 14 people shot. When I first did my research, we had 8 children who have been unalive. I think the number has been updated to 9 children unalive. This is a domestic dispute. This is what's going on in the democratic cities, in the democratic enclaves of America. We have a domestic dispute. Shreveport, Louisiana, 9 children unalive from the ages of 1 to 14. It took place, I believe the father is the suspect. The father was in a carjacking and a car chase. The father has been unalive. The father and the shooter has been unalive. There was multiple locations. I don't know why police, I'm live. I don't know why police, I'm live right now. Hey, I'm live right now. I'm live. What's up, baby? I didn't know if you was going. You just tell me. Okay, love you. I don't know why the police were not able to stop the guy before he got to multiple locations. But what I'm reporting right now to you live, breaking news Sunday, this happened this morning. A mass shooting, 14 children were shot. 9, the update from 8 is 9. 9 have been unalive. The suspect is the father. The suspect did a carjacking. The Shreveport police unalive the suspect. So we may be at 15 people shot, 9 people unalive. We coming to you live from Shreveport, Louisiana. Let's go to the video right now. I need everybody to hit the like button as you come in. I'm coming to you with live, up-to-date reports. Double tap the like button. 8 children unalive in a mass shooting. Domestic dispute.
3 other people are injured after shootings at 3 related scenes in the Cedar Grove neighborhood. Investigators say the victims range from 18 months to 14 years old. Police say they shot and killed the suspect after a chase. His name has not yet been released. Local authorities believe the shooting appears to be domestic. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. We're following breaking news on a mass shooting in Louisiana. Shreveport police say at least 8 children are dead and at least 3 other people are injured after
8 children are unalive. I think that number has been updated to 9, and 3 other people have been injured. This was a domestic dispute. The father was involved, multiple locations. We coming to you live, Perfect Timing Podcast. Double tap, hit the like button. This is a tragedy on display right now in America. I got more news coming to you from the Straits of Hormuz, California. Swalwell resigning, but I'm starting off my podcast. We're starting off today. Breaking news: Shreveport, Louisiana, mass shooting, 14 people shot, up to 9 may be unalive. Double tap hit the like button.
Shootings at 3 related scenes in the Cedar Grove neighborhood. Investigators say the victims range from 18 months to 14 years old.
18 months to 14 years old. From my reports, I understand it's the father. I believe it was the father. That's all I have so far. The details from my research is this is a domestic dispute. And it was the father who was the assailant. That's what we have so far. And we have 8 unalive children, but I believe it's been updated to 9. 14 total people shot. 14. The domestic failure in Cedar Grove has officially become the deadliest mass shooting in the U.S. so far in 2026. This is breaking news. Did you guys hear that? What I'm reporting? This is the largest mass shooting to date in 2020. Now, I remember Stockton, California. We had a similar mass shooting in Stockton, California. Last time we had this talk, it's always in these Democratic inner city enclaves. Stockton, California, we had 14 people shot at a child's birthday party, and 5 children were unalived in that shooting in Stockton, California. That they didn't want to say that was gang and how do you say it, ladies and gentlemen? Gang violence, gang involved. But today, this one they're saying is domestic violence, and there's the father was involved. 14 people shot, 8 to 9 unalive. Cedar Grove, Shreveport has officially become the deadliest mass shooting in the U.S. so far in 2026. Here are the facts, the timeline and the location. The violence began around 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. this morning. The neighborhood, Cedar Grove neighborhood in Shreveport, Louisiana. Primary scenes, Harrison Street. A woman was shot and critically injured, a head wound. We don't know if that's the mother or how that relates to this. The 300 block, but keep in mind, 3, right now, I've heard 4, but 3 different locations where this individual was able to just run rampant all over the city without being stopped by police. Keep that in mind as we go forward. And it makes me think about that other shooting that took place in Santa Cruz, California, where the guy had went down Highway 1, committed one shooting, then drove down Highway 1, did another shooting. So we have multiple. This is the largest mass shooting in the United States in 2026. 14 people shot, 8 people, 8 to 9 unalive so far. Check it out. I'm breaking it down. These are the details. I haven't heard much detail so far. It's a very tragic. Prayers are going out to the family. This is a very tragic event. So we have Harrison Street. First location, everybody. Get the notes down so you know where you heard it first. Perfect Timing Podcast. We're going to be following this story all the way to prosecution. Harrison Street is where the first shooting took place. A woman was shot critically and injured as a head wound. The second location was the 300 block of West 79th Street. This was the primary slaughter site. 7 children were found unalive at the 300 block. That is the what you're seeing behind me. I believe those windows look shot out. I don't have much detail, but beyond this, but this is the most detail you're going to find on the internet right now. No one is giving you the locations. No one is giving you the addresses. No one is giving you who got shot and where and why. This is the breaking news on the Perfect Timing Podcast. Double tap hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed and joined and became a member, you want to subscribe and become a member, because this level of content usually is reserved for members only, and our members only live streams on Wednesday because it's such sensitive content. We're going to go over such sensitive material today. So you want to become a member not to miss these breaking stories like this. Second location was the 300 block of West 79th Street. This is where the primary slaughter site. 7 children were found unalive at the location you see directly behind me. The roof. The 8th child was found unalive on the roof of an adjacent home. 1 child survived by jumping. This is tragic right now. I'm reporting to you live from Shreveport, Louisiana, the largest mass shooting in the United States. This is the Sunday cleanup show. Typically, we do politics. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk about the Straits of Hormuz. But as I do my research, every time I'm doing my research, this is the benefit of a live podcast that's not pre-recorded. As I do my research every day, I'm going with the lead story. And the lead story right now happens to be the largest mass shooting of 2026 that just took place in Shreveport, Louisiana this morning. I'm reporting to you it took place around 5 or 6 a.m. It took place around 5 or 6 a.m. So I just reported to you all of the different times, right? Boozer Parish was the final scene where the suspect was taken out by police. Now, before he was taken out by police, what you need to understand, he went to several different locations. Do you understand? I believe the first location was the mother or a woman involved with the children. This was the father. Before he got to the last location, he committed a drive-by. It wasn't just the shootings, ladies and gentlemen. I'm reporting to you there was 14 shootings and 8 to 9 people unalive, but there was also a carjacking. That's how he got away. That's how he got away. Double tap hit the like button. Double tap hit the like button. There was also a carjacking. That's how he got away. The casualty count, total right now, 9 children and 1 suspect. That's how I'm coming to the total of 9. So 8 children unalive plus the suspect. That's 9 unalive so far. The children ages ranges from 18 months to 14 years old. 2 adult women shot in the head in critical condition. 1 adolescent boy who survived the roof jump. The suspect's name is Shamar Elkins, 31 U.S. Army veteran. That's the breaking news, right? That's the first time I've heard that. That's the first time I've heard that. If I have to issue a retraction, you guys are with me because that's the first time I've heard the suspect's name. You're hearing it first here live on the Perfect Timing Podcast. Double tap, hit the like button. The suspect's name, allegedly, I'm reporting it, breaking news on the Perfect Timing Podcast. Somebody put it in the chat. Breaking news, the suspect's name is Shamar Elkins, 31 years old, a U.S. Army veteran, allegedly. The pursuit and takedown. After the massacre, Elkins committed a carjacking. There it is right there. Committed a carjacking near the corner of West 79th and Linwood. Shreveport police engaged a high-speed pursuit in Boozer County. The chase ended on Brompton Lane where Elkins was shot and killed by law enforcement. No officers were injured. No officers were injured. Double tap, hit the like button. As you guys come in, get the algorithm going. Let's go back to the news reports. I'm gonna get you the police. We're gonna get you to the you know how they do the public statements, and we're gonna hear more and do the research. This is the first breaking news. I got the suspect name, I got the locations, I got the most detail right now on YouTube. Breaking news. If you're following this story, the most up-to-date information is available here right now at the Perfect Timing Podcast. Double tap hit the like button.
Police say they shot and killed the suspect after a chase. His name has not yet been released. Local authorities believe the shooting appears to be domestic. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. The following breaking news on a mass shooting in Louisiana. Shreveport police say at least 8 children are dead and at least 3 other people are injured after shootings at 3 related scenes in the Cedar Grove neighborhood. Investigators say the victims range from 18 months to 14 years old. Police say they shot and killed the suspect after a chase. His name has not yet been released. Local authorities believe the shooting appears to be domestic. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. The following breaking news on a mass shooting in Louisiana. Shreveport police say at least 8 children are dead and at least 3.
Horrible news. Horrible news. I know. Horrible news. We're going to keep it going, though. I got more coming from Shreveport, Louisiana. Double tap at the like button. Not enough likes. Get the likes up, man. Get the likes up, man. This is a tragic situation. We got live Sunday breaking news. This is the Sunday cleanup show on the Perfect Timing Podcast. Double tap, hit the like button. You are watching the Sunday cleanup show on the Perfect Timing Podcast. That's right. And breaking news this morning, we got Trump naval win. I don't know if you heard about it, but a junior naval officer is in control of the Straits of Hormuz. Today, there was an Iranian ship that tried to go through the Straits, and we actually told them to stop. They didn't listen. We blew a hole in the ship. And boy, this is the first ship that's been actually boarded by Americans. It's been a lot of hullabaloo about Iran and the closure of the Straits of Hormuz. A lot of people have been saying it hasn't been possible. What I did on my last show is I told you how we actually closed it. 10,000 troops are over there now. And what you hear a lot about is about these bombs. Last week, they talked a lot about drones, right? And then now you don't hear anything about drones. Now you hear about these sea bombs, but you don't know what I said last week is the UUVs. Everybody go look up the UUVs, what we have and why it is that we're controlling. And then Pete Hegseth said there's only 10% of our Navy, and we're handling Iran handily with only 10% of our Navy. But what they haven't talked about on any of these Sunday shows are the UUVs that are unmanned underwater drones that are cleaning up the mines for us. So we have the Straits of Hormuz closed. We have a junior Navy officer shutting down the Straits of Hormuz. My last show, I showed you a Chinese vessel turned around by the U.S. Navy. In today's show, I'm going to show you about an Iranian vessel that was blown up by the U.S. Navy and boarded today. That's where we are in Iran. Before we get there, I'm starting with breaking news in Shreveport, Louisiana, because this is a live show. It's not pre-recorded. I'm going to address the Sunday show. It's the Sunday morning cleanup show. It's the perfect time for the Perk Time podcast. What we do here is Trump news, giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues, but it's all around news and politics. As I started my show today and did my research, I saw this lead story in Shreveport, Louisiana, which happens to be the largest mass shooting in America to today. In 2026. It's absolutely horrendous. It's absolutely horrific. I got the name of the shooter. I got the breaking news. I've been researching this story for the last couple hours, and this is the most information that's available on the issue right now. I see people in my chat. They've been paying attention right now. Tell them, chat, this is the first place where you heard the name of the suspect. Tell them, chat, this is the first place you heard the same name of the suspect and the details of what happened with these children and these women and the unalived. Let's go to the police right now. It won't be a lot of information. I'll go over the information in a second. Let's go to the video right now. Double tap it, like button as you're coming in.
We're standing in this place again. There are 8 children that are deceased. I can't be strong for you. I think about the mother and what this family has lost. I think about this community and what this community has lost. And I don't have the words to give you, and I'm sorry. I don't know what people think in the crevices of their mind to want to harm another human being, let alone that of children who have their whole life ahead of them. From what I've learned about this incident is that it's domestic in nature that makes it even more horrific for all the fighting that we do as it relates to this. And maybe you can stand strong with this, but I can't without shedding tears of traumatic pain. I pain and I grieve for this family. I grieve for the lives that are lost, and I'm asking you to please utilize every resource that the sheriff has brought forth now when you know that these situations occur. We cannot be and make this a joke. This is not a freaking joke. This is real, and this is the result when someone snaps. So I'm gonna ask the community, along with prayer, with every mental health consultant, counselor that is out here, this family and this community needs you. I need you. Because how do we get through this? How do we get to the next level? It is real and this is raw. And these are the tragedies when there are domestic violence or domestic disturbances in our community.
And also, as the chairman of our public safety committee is coming, Councilman Grayson Butcher, There was another situation that happened like this. I don't know whether it was morning or whether it was evening, but it happened at a brother by the name of Job. All his children were gathered, and a storm came, trouble came, and it killed all of them. And Job got to a point in his life that he says, though he slay me, yet will I trust him. And so though we have this situation today, I just want you to leave here saying, trust God. At this time, Councilman Butcher will come.
Whoa.
What's that?
I just built a budgeting app with Base 44.
Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible. Nina can't code.
Interesting. Can it generate reports?
Thank you, Reverend Green. You know, I've struggled all morning since I woke up with how to address this, and I really don't have any prepared words. I will echo what Chairwoman Taylor said about domestic violence. Over 30% of our crimes and 30% of our murders in the city of Shreveport are domestic in relation. Now that number has gone up. We've more than doubled our homicides in the city of Shreveport because of one act of domestic violence. We as a community, black, white, Republican, Democrat, need to stand together and fight for what is right. This is nothing but pure evil. We can have 100 new police cars. We can have a brand new, beautiful, multi-million-dollar police substation right up the road. But until we stop this violence, the cycle of violence, like I've said over and over again, we're going to still be standing here, and it's only going to get worse. Our children today are bombarded with horrible scenes like this, but better, I mean, more than that, they're also bombarded with video games that are violent, movies that are violent, you name it, they're seeing it. And this is what the result of that is. Believe me, it's evilness in our community. So what I ask for all the citizens to do is pray for this family, pray for our city, pray for our country. Our country is riddled with evil right now. And we need to pray and pray very, very hard. The other thing, as a more than 20-year veteran, public servant, firefighter, please pray for these firefighters, police officers, and even the coroner's office, the public safety communicators that took the call on this. I'm going to tell you, I'm here to tell you that the burden on them is real. They will carry this for the rest of their life. Just put yourself in their situation. A young police officer, a young firefighter has to walk in and see 8 babies murdered. How does he go home and hold his own children? Think about that. We've got to stop the violence. We've got to take the politics out of crime, and we've got to all stand together like we are today. So, Councilman Green, thank you. I'm praying for your district, and I'm praying for the city of Shreveport. Thank you.
At this time, we're going to have Pastor Tony Hunter to come with the word of prayer.
So yes, this happened in Shreveport, Louisiana today around 5 or 6 a.m. Let me get you some more details right now. Everybody in the chat, thank you for coming in. As you come in, double tap, hit the like button. If you're so inclined, go ahead and hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. You're watching the Perfect Timing Podcast, #1 podcast on YouTube for news and politics. This is the #1 podcast on YouTube for news and politics. We're live Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. I'm the host, Perfect, of the Perfect Timing Podcast. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast Studios. Thank you so much for arriving here. Thank you to YouTube for bringing you here. I would like you all to show some respect for the moderator, show respect for the audience, show respect to the content and to the platform. Thank you, YouTube, for giving us this opportunity to come together and share this information. Today, I'm coming to you live with breaking news. As I said, this is a news and political channel. If you look at the topic, you're going to see that we're going to be talking about Trump, Iran, the Straits of Hormuz, Eric Swalwell resigning. I got the interview from the young lady. He was accused of sexually, you know what the word is. I also got more information on that. But today, as we started off, when I did my research, it led me to this shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana that took place at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. If you want to hear the details, stay tuned, double tap, hit the like button, pay attention and listen. Get your notebooks and your pieces of paper ready. I'm going to give it to you right now. This violence began around 5 or 6 a.m. The violence began around 5 or 6 a.m. today, this morning, in the neighborhood of Cedar Grove, Shreveport, Louisiana, Harrison Street. And there were several scenes. The crime took place in several areas in several different locations. It's actually a pretty horrific thing that took place. We're going to get some details to break it down to you. But before we go to the video, I want to share with you details that I found here. So, happened around 5 or 6 a.m. this morning in multiple locations, Cedar Grove neighborhood, Shreveport, Louisiana. The primary scenes, which there are 4, a woman was shot on Harrison Street, and she was critically injured with a head wound. The next scene was the 300 block of West 79th Street. This was the primary slaughter site. 7 children were found unalived at the 300 block of West 79th Street. I've showed that house in my previous reporting. We'll probably take a look at it again. There was another location, the roof. An 8th child was found unalive on the roof. So listen to this. Of an adjacent home, 1 child survived by jumping. So it sounds like the children were trying to escape the man who may be the father. There was a domestic situation. I believe it's the father. And it sounds like 2 of the children were trying to escape, made it to the roof. 1 jumped off. 1 was actually unalived on the roof. Now, the father, the domestic dispute, the person in question, with the final scene that it took place was at Boozer Parish, and I apologize for pronouncing it incorrectly. Somebody in the chat was putting the proper pronunciation in the chat. The final scene is where the suspect was taken out by police. The total number of unalived is 9, 8 children plus the suspect. The ages range from 18 months to 14 years old. 2 adult women shot in the head in critical condition, and 1 adolescent boy who survived the roof jump. 14 people shot in total. The suspect, Shamar Elkins, is a 31-year-old U.S. Army veteran. After the massacre, Elkins committed a carjacking near the corner of West 79th in Linwood. Police then engaged in a high-speed pursuit in Boozer City, where he was later unalive. Let's go to the video I have and get you more details from a visual aspect. Double tap, hit the like button, get the likes up as you come into the likes. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast, the #1 location for news and politics on YouTube. I'm coming to you live from Shreveport, Louisiana, with the largest mass shooting in America in 2026. Don't forget, we had the shooting in Stockton, California. That was also 14 people shot, 5 children unalived in Stockton, California. This is April 19th, 2026. 14 people shot, 8 children unalive from the ages of 14 months and under. Let's go to the news report. Double tap at the like button as you come and get the likes up.
Has killed 8 children in Shreveport, Louisiana on Sunday morning in a series of domestic-related shootings, according to police. The victims ranged in age from just 1 year old to about 14. Authorities say the shootings happened early Sunday across 3 different homes. They add a total of 10 people were shot. The suspect then reportedly stole a car and led officers on a chase before being killed after police opened fire. Investigators say some of the children were related to the suspects. A gunman has killed 8 children in Shreveport, Louisiana.
So just getting you some detail. Gunman has killed 8 children, unalive 8 children. Let's get this. Let's go to our boy here. There we go, guys. Let's go to the officer. Gave this may be their, they be having a public relations officer. This may be their public.
This morning, officers responded to a shooting that occurred just after 6 a.m. In doing so, we determined that this was a domestic call in nature. The responding officers located a crime.
Let's see if we can get a better. Let me see if we get a better one of those. Let's see, get a better one of those for you guys. Double tap at the like button, man. Double tap, get the likes up as you guys come in, man. Sunday news cleanup show.
To a shooting that occurred just after 6 a.m. In doing so, we've determined that this was a domestic call in nature. The responding officers located a crime scene here in the 300 block of West 79th Street. And this is a rather extensive crime scene spanning between two residences here. There is also another residence on Harrison Street that is part of this crime scene as well. Right now, we have at least 10 individuals that were struck by gunfire last night in a domestic disturbance. 8 of these individuals are deceased. The ranges of the decedents are from 1 year of age to approximately 14 years of age. The individual responsible, once leaving this scene, performed a carjacking right here in close proximity to the corner of West 79th and Linwood, at which point in time, Shreveport Police Patrol officers got behind that vehicle and a chase ensued. The vehicle was chased into Bossier Parish, and at which point in time, Shreveport police officers did discharge their firearm, and that individual is deceased. We do believe him to be the only individual that fired gunshots at these locations here. He is deceased, and Louisiana State Police will be taking over that portion in which the Shreveport police officers discharged their firearms. What we can tell you is this is a domestic disturbance here in the 300 block of West 79th Street. This is a very large scene with multiple deceased children present, and so we're going to ask for your patience in us getting information out. We will release the name of the suspect that is deceased when we have made the proper notifications. We do know that some of the children inside were his descendants, and so once we are sure of everyone's names and ages and the proper channels have been notified, we'll be releasing all of that information. To a shooting that occurred just after 6 a.m.
So, oh man. Live, breaking news, Purpose Summit Podcast with the blast, in and out with a dash, real fast, double tap, hit the like button. Ladies and gentlemen, I am coming to you live from Shreveport, Louisiana, where it's the largest mass shooting in America to date, to 2026. 14 people shot, 8 children unalive, and I'm coming to you live with the details. 14 people shot, 8 children unalive, 2 women critically conditioned, and the shooter is saying this is a domestic dispute. Double tap at the like button. They're saying it's a domestic dispute. The father, 31-year-old Shamar Elkins, was an ex-Army veteran, and what we're learning is it was a domestic dispute, and some children were even unalived on a roof, ladies and gentlemen, and one of the children were able to escape by jumping off of the roof. That took place in several locations. He lastly took a car. He carjacked the car and later was shot dead in Boozer County, Shreveport, Louisiana, largest mass shooting as of to date in 2026. Let's get some details. Double tap hit the like button. Stay tuned. Listen closely or read the banner above and you can get the details of what we're discussing, or you can just listen. Double tap hit the like button. Like, share, and subscribe, everybody.
Here's some news in about 30 seconds. Heartbreaking news to start with. 8 children ages 1 to 14 were gunned down in Shreveport, Louisiana this morning.
I don't know what people think in the crevices of their mind to want to harm another human being, let alone that of children who have their whole life ahead of them.
Jason Allen is headed there right now and will bring us the latest developments. U.S. negotiators head to Pakistan Monday for talks with Iran about the StraitOfHormuz and a ceasefire set to expire this week. Now, Iran has not confirmed these talks, but says it remains open to diplomacy. Blue Origin achieves the first landing of a reused rocket booster, and robots compete against humans in a half marathon in Beijing, China. Those stories and so much more coming up.
So we have a shooting in Shreveport, Louisiana. 8 children have been unalived. I'm coming to you live with the details right now. Authorities say 8 people. I got the multiple locations. Most of the children, I understand, were unalived at the 300 block of West 79th Street. 7 children unalived. 2 children were on the roof. 1 actually got away. I'm coming to you live from Shreveport, Louisiana. double tap, hit the like button. This video has no sound. Double tap, hit the like button. Total of 10 people. The gunman later died after a chase with officers fired at the suspect. We getting some detailed reports here. It was the nation's deadliest mass shooting in more than 2 years. Double tap at the like button. This is what we're reporting on. As before we get into the Straits of Hormuz and the shutdown, we got Trump and the Navy doing a great job in Iran at the border, Iranian ship. But my breaking news that I'm leading with today is the largest mass shooting in America in more than 2 years. This is absolutely horrible because it's not only the most deadliest, but it got to be the most horrendous because the dead in question are all children under the age of 15, and they happen to be related to the shooter, children as young as 18 months. So it's not only the deadliest, it's got to be the most heinous in the last 2 years. But do not leave out the shooting that took place in Stockton. Don't leave out the shooting that took place in Stockton where 14 people were shot and 5 children were unalive, right? Don't forget about that and all the famous drill rappers associated with the Stockton shooting that California governor tried to sweep under the rug. You never hear about anymore. I bet you if this is number 1, Stockton got to be number 2. But you never hear about Stockton. All you got in the news is Trump this and Trump that. But you don't. But today we talking about California today. We're talking about Gavin Newsom failures. We're talking about the fraud. We're talking about the stolen NGOs. We're talking about Swalwell, who almost became governor of California in his proclivities. That's just the same as I've always told you about Epstein. Epstein's friends were all Democrats. Epstein never donated one damn dime to a Republican. Can I get that in the chat? There is no evidence of Epstein ever donating one dime to a Republican. Epstein has so much power and influence in the DNC. They still have $35,000 of Epstein money. They're getting Epstein money. We're getting Epstein money. $35,000. Don't forget about Stacey Plaskett in the late 2000 when they're still prosecuting Trump. When was that? That's 2018. Stacey Plaskett still friends with, still talking with. Now keep in mind, Jeffrey Epstein lived. When you hear about Stacey Plaskett, right, texting Jeffrey Epstein about what to say in the prosecution, no one ever goes deeper as to who is Stacey Plaskett and how and why they have a relationship. Stacey Plaskett wasn't on the Jeffrey Epstein island. She wasn't in New Mexico. But once you come to learn to find out, when you study who she is, you learn to find out that Jeffrey Epstein didn't just own one island, he owned 2. Little St. James and Big St. James. He had permission to buy both islands because he was friends with, drum roll please, and donated to the campaign and helped get elected. Who? Stacey Plaskett of the Democratic motherfucking Party. I cannot make this shit up. That's the absolute truth. That's the absolute truth. That's the absolute truth, Rue. This is what's going down in your Democratic Party. You got a guy named Swalwell who almost became, he's been in the Congress, right? He's supposed to be this great military guy. He's been in the Congress, always these indignant people who are high and mighty. They be in my chat all the time. How perfect they are, pointing the finger at my President Trump, who's been doing the best job of president I've seen in our lifetime. And here's this clown talking about how bad Trump is, and it's always those guys, right? Trump is a married man. He's a billionaire. He has no reason to do half of the things that you think that he does, right? Because you don't understand what $1 billion is, right? But be that as it may, then you got this guy, all these people pointing the finger, and what is he doing to women and behind closed doors? This is the most horrible, heinous, horrific, and this is the status quo for Democrats. We can go from Ilhan Omar, we can go Stacey Plaskett, we can go Ayanna Pressley, we can go to all of these DEI hires in the Democratic Party stealing millions of dollars. We got the city girl mayor in Chicago. We got another city girl in Florida, $5 million. Ayanna Pressley, millions of dollars. Ilhan Omar, millions of dollars. Jasmine Crockett with her crocodile tears crying after she gets fired. But what you find in the Democrat, what about when J.D. Vance just talked about Nancy Pelosi and J.D. Vance saying we got to put out a law that stops the Congress from trading, just makes it illegal altogether. Not just try to, because Nancy Pelosi is worth damn near $1 billion. They beat the S&P 500. So basically, J.D. Vance has said we don't even want to regulate it. We want to make it illegal for the because they've stolen so much money. Your favorite Democrat, Maxine Waters, worth millions of dollars. Ilhan Omar worth millions of dollars. AOC worth millions of dollars. Millions and millions and millions of money. How long has Bernie Sanders been in office? How long was Biden in office? How long has Chuck Schumer been in office? Anyway, how long has Nancy Pelosi been? Anyway, all these. So J.D. Vance said, let's just make it illegal all the way around. We haven't even got the shifty shift, you know what I'm saying? And the SDNY dirty ass, but just giving you a little background of how the channel works and what we're getting in today. This is the deadliest mass shooting in more than 2 years, but like I said, I bet you Stockton, California is number 2. Gavin Newsom has a lot to answer for the fires, for the NGO fraud, and now you were Gavin. That's your buddy, Swalwell. How is it that he gets away from having associations with a Swalwell? How do we know he wasn't partying with him? How close was their relationship? I want to know. We're gonna talk about it today. Double tap, hit the like button. We're going to talk about it today. I'm coming to you live from Shreveport, Louisiana, where an unfortunate event, the largest mass shooting, the most deadliest in
Louisiana. Shreveport police say at least 8 children are dead and at least 3 other people are injured after shootings at 3. Following breaking news on a mass shooting in Louisiana. Shreveport police say at least 8 children are dead and at least 3 other people are injured after shootings at 3 related scenes in the Cedar Grove neighborhood. Investigators say the victims range from 18 months to 14 years old. Police.
So this is the 300. So he said there's 3 different locations where the shootings occurred. This is the house right here. This house is where most of the shootings and the unalived take. So when I give you the details that the most tragic location, I told you, Harrison Street, a woman was shot, critically injured in the head wound. In the 300 block of West 79th Street, this is the primary slaughter site where 7 children were found unalive. This is what you're watching right now. Right now, what you're watching is the primary location where children were found unalive. Double tap, hit the like button. This is the 300 block.
Say they shot and killed the suspect after a chase. His name has not yet been released. Local authorities believe the shooting appears to be domestic. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Following breaking news on a mass shooting in Louisiana. Shreveport police say at least 8 children are dead and at least 3 other people are injured after shootings at 3 related scenes in the Cedar Grove neighborhood. Investigators say the victims range from 18 months to 14 years old. Police say they shot and killed the suspect after a chase. His name has not yet been released. Local authorities believe the shooting appears to be domestic. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Following breaking news on a mass.
So this is breaking news on a mass shooting. 8 children unalive. It's absolutely horrible, man. It's absolutely horrible, man. I'm coming to you live with the most up-to-date reporting. Let's check out this one right here. Coming to you live with the most up-to-date reporting, breaking news right now. Absolutely horrific. 8 children.
Right now, we have at least 10 individuals that were struck by gunfire last night in a domestic disturbance. 8 of these individuals are deceased. The ranges of the decedents are from 1 year of age to approximately 14 years of age. All of the deceased in this case are juveniles. The individual responsible, once leaving this scene, performed a carjacking. We will release the name of the suspect that is deceased when we have made the proper notifications. We do know that some of the children inside were his descendants. And so once we are sure of everyone's names and ages and the proper channels have been notified, we'll be releasing all of that information.
Oh, breaking news,
Right now,
breaking news, 8 children unalive in the most deadliest shooting in the last 2 years. Absolutely just horrific scene today. That's how we starting off our news report. Absolutely a horrific scene here in Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana. This is the Perfect Time Podcast with the blast in and out real fast. Again, coming to you live from Shreveport, Louisiana.
Me just a few blocks away. Thank you all to the mental health providers that came today, the other community leaders. And I just want to piggyback a little bit off of the services that Councilman Green and Senator Jenkins has mentioned. If we could, Councilman Green, whatever support we could give of correlating and collaborating with all of the mental health services that we have in our community, in our city, just on standby, and whatever we can do for the community moving forward to let them know that we're still here, as you stated, but from all of our offices, as we move forward, as we mentioned, the kids that are here, the families, there's a father still here in the community. I can't even imagine what the police officers, first responders actually dealt with when they got here today.
Right.
To hear children escaping out of the back door. And as we often forget what they go through mentally as well. Please let's not forget them as we, in our prayers, and we talk about what they carry home, as Councilman Butcher mentioned. From our fire department and police department, I thank them so very much from the bottom of our heart. They do an outstanding job every day. But today, as they pursued the suspect, I thank the chief and his the officers for how they responded so quickly to this community and in our city, as they do always. But again, all of the services that we can continue to offer, I know by myself and all of us here, whatever we can do to keep those services alive, and the education of what those signs look like as our new generation and adults see these signs, and how we can help them and their parents and families just identify them, where we can help try to alleviate this type of situation again. Thank you so much, Councilman Green, for being here.
Next, we're going to have Commissioner Carthon to come, and after which, for Representative Cleo Field's office, we're going to have Quentin to come.
Thank you, Pastor Green. As I stand here today, I had no idea that I would be standing here. My condolences goes, first of all, to the entire family of Cedar Grove, of which I grew up in, just right down the street on 79th. As I stood here and talked with many members here, I found out who the relatives were of who I grew up with, I've known for years. But the most important thing is, previously stated, we have to do something different. We cannot continue to do the same thing and expect different results. The domestic violence unit is now in place. I don't know if this could have stopped it or not, but that's neither here nor there. The point being is that we must put something in place, and I'm glad that we're standing here united. And we have to do more than just talk about it. We got to be about it. And I'm going to ask anybody under the sound of my voice, any information, anything that you might be able to share so we can prevent something like this from occurring again, please give me a call. Please call the Caddo Commission office. Please call the city, the state, the representatives, the senators, whomever you might know. Get in contact with us so we could put something together to possibly prevent this from happening again. I thank everyone that's listening. I've received calls all the way from San Francisco already today. So we all know that this is spreading very rapidly, but the most important thing we have to remember, how do we possibly prevent this from happening again? Again, in closing, I would like to say to the family, you have my condolences, you have my prayers, and I will be available to assist you in any kind of way.
Good afternoon. My name is Quentin Ault. I represent Congressman Cleo Fields as congressional liaison. Congressman Cleo Fields, he sends his deepest condolences to the family. Also wants to thank the SPD and the fire department for their rapid response. I think the biggest thing about this is how is Shreveport going to respond to this situation? Not from an elected official standpoint, from a community standpoint, from a school standpoint, from a home standpoint. We have to take our city back at all standpoints. And so the congressman, he wants to see our city move forward. Our elected officials want to see our city move forward. We need our community to want our city to move forward. So thank you to everyone that's been a part of this and trying to make this situation better at hand, from our mental health response, from our community advocates. So thank you again. And Congressman Cleofield sends his deepest condolences to the family.
What y'all think, man? What y'all think, man? I want to hear from you. Do y'all think this has to do, you know, you hear a lot about the term community and YouTube and the community. Do y'all think the community is responsible for this? Let me know in the chat. Put a 1 in the chat. Do you think the community is responsible and the community could stop and save these type of things in this situation? We don't have a lot of information right now. We do know he was a young man, 31 years old. That makes him part of the, you know, the GNA, whatever that is. But we don't know much about the young man. We know unfortunately, and we know he was an Army veteran. So that's kind of unfortunate that we know he was an Army veteran. And you know, they keep saying mental health, right? They keep saying mental health, and so you know, I don't want to speculate, but you know, we do have a problem with some of the servicemen. So when I say community, we don't know. You know, people assume a lot, and I think, you know, the Democrats. This is a Democrat city. It's a Democrat enclave. So it's like the Democrat politicians are out there, and the Democrats always want more money, more policy, and more laws. As a conservative Republican, I want smaller government, smaller laws, and I don't believe the way is to blame the community and to get more community. I think they bring up this community argument so they can institute more laws, get more money, get more programs, create more bureaucracy, right? That costs the people and the citizens more money, but don't actually fix the problems, right? Which is how we get here with these type of systemic issues, because 31 is real young and he was in the military. Number one, someone intelligent speculating is why wasn't he identified in the military for his mental issues, right? That's the number one thing. I was like, if he was in the military recently, why wasn't he identified about those issues? So that would be the first thing I would say. So I don't know if I would go right to community with someone so young, because how much time has he spent in the community? 31 years old. The children are very young. So I would say, I don't even know if you want to say he was a product of the community, because I don't know how long he lived there. So at 31 years old, I think it's far-fetched to start saying, and that's a young man, that was a young politician. At 31 years old, I think it's a stretch to say it's the community's responsibility. But I'm asking you, put a 1 in the chat. Do you think the community is responsible for what took place? And do you think the community is the one that has to solve it? You know what I'm saying? That's the question right now. Is it the community? Is it the community for a 31-year-old ex-veteran? You know, you get mentally assessed to be in the Army. Everybody can't join the Army. You gotta be mentally fit, physically fit. So we have someone who was in the Army. He's an actual veteran. That means he served in combat. He may have seen some things, because one of the things you also extrapolate from this is the ability to create and do so much damage and carnage. Where did you learn to do that, right? Where did you develop that that appetite for killing like that, right? Like we said, this is the second most deadliest shooting in America in the last 2 years, right? And to come to find out that he was an Army veteran, this is not just an everyday person, right? This is why you don't have shootings like this every day. This is not just an everyday person who found a gun. This is a trained, this is you know, this is the difficult part about these stories, right? Because everybody wants to immediately go to one thing. So they're going to domestic violence, they're going to community. But this is a political channel. You know, we use our intellect here, right? So I know they want to go to community, but he's 31. I know they want to go to domestic violence. What I'm looking at is the fact that it's the most deadliest shooting in 2 years, and the ability for anyone to do this. Multiple scenes. He successfully shot and killed everybody. That means this person has some type of training. And lo and behold, what do we learn? What do we find out? Yeah, he was in the military and he was a veteran. Veteran of what? He's 31. He's probably a veteran of the Afghan-Iraq war. So that means he was in the Middle East. He may have seen shooting. He may have seen carnage while in the Middle East, right? So I think that would contribute more to this level of violence than his domestic outlook, right? Whether or not he was arguing with some woman or it was a bad relationship. I think the fact that he may have seen similar carnage in a war, right? And he may have had some unidentified PTSD as an Army veteran. I think that's more likely, but this is allegedly, we're speculating at this time. But for us to blame the community, at this point in time, right, and immediately jump to domestic violence, 31 years old. I doubt he was even with the woman that long. So I think it's more likely that we need to look into his military background. I think it's more likely we need to look into his military background and find out why his superiors didn't identify his mental health, why he wasn't at the VA, why he wasn't being seen or on some type of medication via the VA. See, the VA has been, I got buddies who came home from the Middle East who've been having issues with getting doctor's appointments via the VA. I actually worked in the call center and we help implement Veterans Choice to help veterans and soldiers get appointments when they came home. So I'm a conservative Republican. Today, I saw an interview on the Sunday News of a Hispanic deportation judge, and he had the shit all wrong. And what he didn't pay attention to is the logistics. So when we talk about the Veterans Choice, and we talk about the VA, and we talk about the potential of this young man not getting the care that he deserved, and then we talk about deportation judges, liberal deportation judges that believe it's the priority to give due process to people who are non-citizens, despite the logistical and the financial hurdle, right? In the interview, he admitted that there were 3 people in the queue. There were 3 million people waiting to be seen, but he didn't prioritize the logistics. I work in project management. I work in logistics. That's why I thank you for having Trump as a president who understands logistics, project management, and instituting Doge, because these liberals don't understand money. These liberals don't understand budgets. These liberals don't understand logistics. These liberals put ideals. Hello, double tap hit the like button. These liberals put ideals before everything. Oh, there's 3 million people in the queue. Each one of them, the Constitution say they deserve due process. That is not true. That's why Trump was so successful in the State of the Union, because he asked the Congress, he asked the liberals, what do you put first? Do you put the duties and the rights of the American people or your ideals, right? Meaning, i.e., illegal immigrants and their right to due process. Because what happens is this, in a business, from a business mind state, what you understand is that you can't do both. And what we're doing is we're dying. We're dying. And I say it's by design. I say the Democrats are doing it by design, and the Democrats know logistically you can't do both. And they put together this false dichotomy to get to the goal that they want, right? You can't do all 3 million people in that queue and then stay on budget. It's the same thing. Zohrani Mondani did an interview today on the Sunday morning shows. It was his first 100 days. Isn't that ironic? It's the same thing for Virginia Governor Spam. It's her first 100 days. And she asked, you promised free fast buses. You promised free health care. You promised free daycare. He hasn't delivered on any of those 3 promises. She asked him, will you be able to deliver on any of those promises? He said yes. He believes he will be able to deliver. It's like a Sunday morning preacher. This is not politics. This is not politics. If you're preaching to me on Sunday morning and you made me a promise and you haven't delivered on that promise and you're still preaching to me, you're still preaching to me on Sunday morning and promising me, right? You might as well be in a church, Zohrani Mondani. You might as well be in a church asking me for donations, because the next thing he does after continually making the promise is he's going to ask for money. He's going to go in your pocket where he's going to say, well, I can make your promises and your dreams come true if you give me more money in the form of property taxes, in the form of dog walking taxes like in Virginia. But he hasn't lowered the buses now. There's no free fast buses now. There's no rent freezes now. There's no free daycare now. But he promises these things will happen, but there's an exchange. Remember Obama, see, the Democrats are these Democratic these pimps and preachers, and they always want an exchange. They always want to quid pro quo. They say you deserve free healthcare, right? They sell you. You deserve free healthcare. Israel gets free healthcare. Why don't you get free healthcare? You deserve free healthcare. But then when he gets in office, they do the switch around, the rigmarole, right? The shell game. Oh, shit. You can't get free healthcare, but you're going to get a mandate, and you're going to make the insurance companies trillions of dollars because we're going to legalize that you have to buy healthcare, which is un-American, which is why I got outlawed. But in the meantime, in between time, the insurance companies made trillions of dollars on something that was unconstitutional, because you can't mandate me to buy something and then make a punitive penalty. Obama made a punitive penalty that if I didn't purchase, that you would take away my earned income. You would take away money I legally earned if you couldn't force me, which is undemocratic, uncapitalistic, unconstitutional, to make a purchase. It's America. You can't force me to buy something. I could buy Pepsi if I want to. I could buy Coke if I want to. No, Obama and Obamacare mandated I make a purchase. The insurance companies made trillions of dollars. This how we get here, America. This how we get here. Double tap, hit the, oh no, nothing is free when it comes to the Democrats, but they want you to believe you can get free buses. So Ronnie got elected on free buses. Free, but wait a minute. This is the part where the Republicans laugh at the Democrats, and they're not understanding logistics, project management, and the amount of money it takes to do these things. Right? You think you can get through 3 million backlog of people who are not citizens, when in New York we had a young man unalive himself because he sat on Rikers Island and he didn't get he's an American citizen. He didn't get his constitutional due process. Maybe we understand why there's a backlog of rape kits in Fulton County with Fannie Willis, when Fannie Willis was stealing the money. Do you understand logistics? To the Latino deportation judge, do you understand logistics and what we're facing logistically in America right now? I said Fannie Willis, famous, everyone knows Fannie Willis. I'm not going to teach anyone who she is, right? I'm not going to teach anyone who she is. Fannie Willis famously, right, they begged and cried about the fact that they didn't not have enough money logistically. I'm talking about logistics and all the people that think we got to give illegal aliens due process. Well, we couldn't even process. This is women. This is women and children. Let me look it up. Fulton County. Let's look it up together. Fulton County rape kits. Fulton County rape kits unprocessed, and Fannie, taking money, Let's talk about it, because I want to talk about this, because this is the Sunday morning shows. As we get into it, this is the Sunday morning shows. This is the Sunday morning shows. Do you guys understand? This is the Sunday morning shows where a Latino judge said that he has 3 million backlogs of illegal aliens who need to be deported, but he thinks they deserve due process, despite the fact logistically it's impossible. Financially, from a project manager standpoint, we can't do it, but that's not what the liberal ideology says. Check this out. The rape kit backlog and Saki funding. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis has faced scrutiny regarding the management of federal grants intended to address a massive backlog of untested rape kits. Did you guys hear that? A massive backlog of untested rape kits, alongside ongoing allegations of financial impropriety. The backlog. As of September 2023, Fulton County faced a backlog of 4,000 SA kits, many dating back to the 1980s and 1990s. Please explain to me, all of you who are your liberal hearts that are crying, all you blue-haired, purple-haired protesting liberals, how do you process all of these immigrants, 10 million by Democratic standards, 20 million by Republican standards, We had 2 million deport in 2025, over 1 million self-deported. So please tell me, if you have SA kids in Fulton County going back to the 1990s that have yet to be processed, that means there are criminals. What type of criminals, you guys? The worst type of criminal, the type of criminal that would prey on a woman, still walking around Fulton County going back to the 90s because they are unable to not prosecute, but process. Do you guys understand what I'm explaining to you? Not prosecute, but simply process, which leads to the prosecution, which means a woman comes in, makes a complaint. A man SA'd me. They go and do a medical test to find out who the man was so they can go arrest him, get him off the street so he can't hurt any other women. Well, guess what? That's not happening in Fulton County. How many counties in America where it's not happening? How many counties in America where it's not happening? Huh? How many counties in America where it's not happening? So you can't put bad guys in prison in America. We're not even talking about the illegals. We're not talking about the people who are non-citizens. 3 million. They want them to go to the same court. The Democrats shut down the government because the Democrats want the non-citizens to go to the same court where you can't even protect American women. American women have been waiting for justice since the 90s in Fulton County. And you can't protect those American women. How can you then put millions of people who are non-citizens through that same courtroom? Because in your ideals, do you guys know what I mean by ideals? The liberal ideals, ideology, they're idealistic, meaning that they have this belief and they put this belief above logistics and reality. My belief and my interpretation of the Constitution is that these people who are not citizens deserve this great American dream, even though logistically, the Americans who get the dream by birth are not getting it because we don't have the money or enough judges or enough district attorneys and the democratic ideals. Their ideology is telling them they don't care. They don't care if there are rape kits going back to the fucking 90s in Fulton County. Do you guys understand why Republicans get pissed at this lack of logic? And because we understand it's an ideal argument. It's ideology. It's an ideological argument. The Democrats believe that these non-citizens deserve something that we cannot technically afford to give all of the citizens here. So how the fuck do we do it? The Democrats believe with their ideology that everybody who came here, 10 million people in 2022 who came here, they all get to see the same judge that you get to see. The problem is you can't see that judge. Someone died in New York. You know what they do in New York? They put you on Staten Island whether you're innocent or guilty. What they do in New York is, because we have a logistical problem, a logistical nightmare, they put you in Staten Island. They put a young man in prison on Staten Island. He was innocent. He hadn't seen a judge. He stayed there for years because there was such a backlog, because it took so long to see it, not because they didn't like him, not because he was black. Everybody listen, it wasn't because he was black. It wasn't because they're racist. It wasn't because they didn't like him. This is how broken our system is. White, black, purple, green, brown. This is what happens to you in New York because we don't have the logistics to actually get everybody into court. Right? We don't have the logistics to get everybody into court. So Broderick sat on Rikers Island for 3 years with never seeing a judge. Guess what they did? Guess what they did after 2 years of him waiting? Now keep in mind, they want 3 million non-citizens to go to the same court. After 2 years of him waiting to go to court, they came to him and said, well, we don't want you to go to court. We're going to let you go home. You've been in jail 2 years. And the kid, he unalived himself. He was so depressed because he was faced with a Faustian bargain, right? He either could go home, never go to court, never be able to prove he was innocent. They said, you can go home right now today. Fuck going to court. We're going to let you go home. Everything goes away. He's like, but I'm innocent. You kept me in jail for 2 years. So fucking what? We don't have time. We're not going to take you to court. We looked at your case. It's not serious enough. We don't have the time or the money to continue to house you or to even let you get your court date. So we're just going to let you go home. He went home. He talked to Jay-Z. They were going to do a movie about him. Jay-Z heard his story. They were going to do a movie. There's a documentary on MTV about this young man. Jay-Z did a documentary about this young man. After he met Jay-Z, his life was going to change. He unalived himself. He couldn't live with the reality that he never got justice in America. He got arrested for something he didn't do. He had a backpack on. He had to sit on Rikers Island for 2 years to see a judge because we did not have the logistical means to give him a judge. And then instead of seeing a judge, they just let him go home. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? This is an American citizen. And at the same time, Democrat ideology says they want non-citizens to go to that same courtroom that Philippe Browder, he couldn't get a court date. He sat for 2 years. How do you get non-citizens processed through a court where we can't process citizens? Now, that's an example in New York. I gave another example in Fulton County. In Fulton County, we have rape kits that haven't been processed going back to the 90s. That means women are in danger in Fulton County. There are rapists that are walking around free and clear going back to the 90s in Fulton County because we don't have the logistics. So we had to give them extra money and they are still not processed. My question to all of the ideology, all the idealistic liberal Democrats, the purple hair protesters, how do you do both? Hakeem Jeffries, how do you do both? This has been my question the whole time. Hakeem Jeffries, how do you do both? How do you get Philippe Browder in a court date without him sitting for 2 years? How do you protect the woman in Fulton County? How do you do that? And then also process those same non-citizens and give them the rights that they don't deserve because they came here illegally. If you want to do it because your ideas tell you that they deserve it, that's your ideology, right? You're going to die on that hill. Democrats want to die. Tell me, how do you pay for it? Zarani Mundani, how do you pay for free fast buses? How do you pay for free daycare? How do you pay? This is the part that Democrats stop. Their thought, their logic stops. They have all these desires, all these wants. But you know what my mama and my daddy, well, how do you pay for it, son? You want a pair of Michael Jordan tennis shoes. Everyone at school has Michael Jordan tennis shoes. You believe you deserve Michael Jordan tennis shoes. There's a problem. We have more than one child. This is the answer I got. There's a problem. We have more than one child. And we both need shoes. So tell me, how does the family afford 5 or 6 pair of Michael Jordan? You did the estimate of 1 pair of Michael Jordan tennis shoes. How do we logistically, and then how do we keep up purchasing 6 pairs of Michael Jordan tennis shoes? Is that a proper and good use of the family's money? When you want to play sports, you play music, you do extracurricular activities, you want to go to college, is that an effective, proper use of the family's money? And I had to think about it. How will we pay for all of those Michael Jordan tennis shoes? Because I'm not just the only, I have siblings. And then if we're paying for all of those Michael Jordan tennis shoes, what can we not do, Zarani Mundani? If we're getting free fast buses, where does that? Because they didn't tell you what happened when they said defund the police. Now listen to this. The Democrats never give you the whole thing. They just hustle you. They said defund the police, right? I know a lot of you thought that when they said defund the police, can we just have a good conversation here? Can we have a good conversation? When they said defund the police, they never said what they would do, right? A lot of us assumed, okay, defund the police. What does that mean? They're going to take money from the police and then do what? See, that's what the Democrats never do. That's why tariffs are attacked. There's one-sided, there's this lack of complete thought on the Democratic side. And because you don't go more deeper than the surface, you never wonder what else is it in the equation. It's 1 + 1 = 2. So you're going to defund the police, but what will you do with the money? We never asked. So in Oakland, California, they defunded the police to $14 million. Then there was an uptick of murder, just like you see in Washington, D.C., just like you see in East St. Louis, Southside Chicago, and now Shreveport, Louisiana. So they defunded the police $14 million. But this is what we found out. When the murders start happening in Stockton and East Oakland, and young people, 14, 15, start getting murdered, and the mayor and the chief start crying, we need help. What we found out is, well, why do you need help? The chief of police told us, they defunded my department $14 million. I don't have enough police on the street. So when I tell you about Shreveport, Louisiana, and a man being able to go to 4 different locations, commit 3 different shootings and a carjacking, what do you extrapolate? I extrapolate that they have a similar issue like they had in Washington, D.C., which is why Trump brought the National Guard, because after quarantine, after all of those things, we had police departments, after quarantine, after vaccine mandates, and after defund the police, our police departments and fire departments have been suffering. So we have a lot less, in some cities, up to 1,000 less police officers to man the streets. That's why it's become so much more dangerous. So in East Oakland, they defunded the police by $14 million. You know what we found out when the murder started to go up? We found out not only did they take that money, but they reappropriate the money. The Democrats and their ideals, so they were purple-haired, liberal, gay, LGBTQ homosexuals on the city council. They took that $14 million and they spent it on LGBTQ bullshit. See, you don't know that in Chicago, there's affluent, rich areas. In Oakland, there's affluent, rich areas. You have Berkeley, you have Moraga, you have North Oakland. So the city council took that money and spent it on the affluent, rich suburbs, where guess who lives in those affluent, rich suburbs of Chicago? Guess who lives in those affluent, rich suburbs of Oakland? White Democrats. Ding dong, ding dong. White liberal Democrats. See, they don't live in South Chicago. You didn't know that, right? These rich liberal Democrats, these white people who say no kings, they don't live in Southside Chicago. They live in the they live in the rich part. There's beautiful parts of Chicago. Liberal Democrats, that's where they live. In East Oakland, where all the crime is, well, the rich white liberal Democrats, they don't live in East Oakland. They live in Berkeley and Moraga and Albany. These beautiful, you wouldn't know about them if you've never been to the Bay Area, just like you don't know about these suburbs of Chicago. Like you just know about Southside Chicago and Drill, East St. Louis, and the murders. But there is another part of St. Louis where the Democrats live, the rich white liberal Democrats. There is another part of Chicago where the Democrats live, the rich white liberal. There. So when they defunded the police in all these Democratic enclaves, they took the money and spent it on them. Did you know that? They didn't spend it on children. They didn't spend it on black people. They didn't spend it on crime prevention. They didn't spend it on drugs. They didn't spend it on any of the bullshit that you said. They took the money from the police and spent it on gay parties, LGBTQ, and all this other shit. It went to rich. You remember when BLM bought mansions and shit like that? Like you did all of this shit and then you bought mansions, where you guys don't know how sinister Black Lives Matter and that whole movement was. They defunded police. They uptick murders like in Shreveport, Louisiana. But that's not the whole story. It's what they did with the money, your tax money. You should be safer in your cities. I bet you don't even realize this. You should be safer in your cities. This type of murder that took place in Shreveport, Louisiana should not be occurring because you pay the taxes, you pay the Mellorews. The problem is the money's not going to the police. The police can't afford overtime. They can't afford to pay officers. So the money is going to liberal ideology, ideals, liberals who believe boys gotta have tampons in the bathroom. Liberals who believe that transgender should read books to kids at the library, all this shit got to be paid for. So they take money from the police and they pay for all this liberal bullshit, and you never hear about it till later. And then you wonder, well, why is all this crime occurring in democratic cities? This is why. This is why. This is why. Double tap hit the like button. Double tap hit the like button. A lot of people don't know what happened with the defund the police. Even until we started having the murders in Oakland, a lot of people don't understand what happened to defund the police, because a lot of people see the police buying military vehicles. So this is the fucked up part about the mainstream media and issues like this. A lot of us can agree on police and overspending and the militarization of our police. A lot of us can agree on that. That's not a partisan issue. It's made partisan by the media. And then the low-level, low-brow Americans agree to have a fight over something that shouldn't be partisan, right? And if we can just say we don't want our police militarized, then we don't have to make it so the police are crippled and not able to pay overtime. But the Democrats make everything partisan and racial. So you start to see the police through a partisan lens, and you start to see the police through a racial lens. And now young people don't respect police officers, and young people don't want to be police, and police departments are having trouble recruiting people because it shouldn't be partisan. Being a police officer is a respectable job. We need police. Even Democrats would agree we need police. So it shouldn't be partisan. But the Democrats have made it partisan in order to win a policy fight, in order to steal money from the budget. They make everything Democrat, red and blue, black and white. And the young children don't have the intellect that I possess in what I'm giving you tonight. So we have 20-year-olds who don't want to be police because they don't want to not get a date. They don't want to not have friends because people see police through these democratic liberal lenses. So young people don't want to be a police officer. Look how they call and treat ICE agents. ICE agents are federal officers. People throw racial slurs. Family members dislike you for doing a job that we need done. We had over 10 million people come here illegally. ICE agents are sacrificing for you. There's a civil service job, and it's been turned into something that people have criminalized and made evil. So young people are not going to want to become ICE agents. What happens if we don't have a strong border? What happens if we can't protect our borders? Because Democrats have been successful at making everything partisan. And our young people don't understand the importance of police, fair police, fair policing. I'm Black, and I can say that we need police. Everyone can say we need fair policing. It's just, we're just giving up some good information tonight, man. We're just giving up some good information tonight. Double tap at the like button, man. I truly appreciate you guys. Truly appreciate you guys, man. We started off the show with the Shreveport incident, and now we're going to move on. And then I was just talking about Fani Willis. The backlog of as of September 2023, Fulton County faced a backlog of 4,000 SA kits, many dating back to 1980s and 1990s. Grant funding. The DA office received $2.5 million federal grant in 2023 to tackle this backlog in partnership with the Atlanta Police Department. This followed the previous $2 million grant received in 2020. So far, Fani Willis has received over $5 million to address the backlog of 4,000 SA kids going back to the 80s, and she hasn't done shit. That means you have SA offenders who are walking around free in Fulton County, Atlanta, which is maybe why the STI rates are so high in Atlanta, Georgia. Because you got all of these criminals walking around free because they refuse to do their damn job. Progress and success. Willis has touted 100% conviction rate in sexual assault cases processed by the specialized SACI unit as of late 2025. But you have 4,000 in the backlog. going back to the 80s. High-profile arrests include alleged identified through DNA hits from these database in old kids. So that means, like I just said, it's not speculation. If she's got 100% conviction rates from these kids and you have 4,000 that have not been processed, potentially she has up to 4,000 sexual offenders walking around free on the Fulton County streets. And so that's a legitimate question to ask on whether or not, what's your priorities? The idealistic Democrats, what's your priorities? This or that? And it has to be asked. Should you be helping the city? This is why Donald Trump asked the question. This is why Donald Trump asked the question. What comes first? The citizens of America or your ideals? The citizens of America or your ideals, right? Great question, Donald Trump. Great question, Donald Trump. And they all fail to stand up. They all fail to stand up. Absolutely embarrassing. They all failed to stand up for the American people. Absolutely embarrassing. Let's go to Swalwell. Swalwell was the Congressman Eric Swalwell was the lead runner for the Democratic Party in California, where Gavin Newsom has ruined the economy. Did you guys know there are no oil refineries in California? I don't know why it's okay to discuss gas prices as it relates to President Trump, but it's not okay to talk about what Gavin Newsom has done to the people of California with the supposed fifth largest economy in the globe. The people of California have suffered under the governorship of Gavin Newsom. No more oil refineries. There are no more Denny's. There are no more stores in San Francisco. There is no more commerce. No one wants to do business. There are no more jobs. There's only theft and homelessness and drugs. Thank you, Gavin Newsom. This was Gavin Newsom's buddy. His name is Congressman Eric Swalwell, and he is resigning after sexual misconduct allegations. I can't make it up. This is your Democratic Party. This is the Epstein money. They getting Epstein money.
Mark, lawmakers were threatening to expel him from Congress before he resigned. Eric Swalwell said he no longer wanted to be a distraction. It comes a day after he suspended his campaign for governor.
These allegations of sexual assault are flat false.
Once a rising star in the Democratic Party, Congressman Eric Swalwell is leaving Washington with a political career on life support. The 45-year-old, who's tangled up in sexual abuse allegations from at least 4 women, is resigning. Swalwell shared his intent to step down on X with an apology, writing, "I am deeply sorry to my family, staff, and constituents for mistakes and judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegation made against me. However, I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make." Since last Friday, bipartisan calls for his resignation and expulsion had grown louder.
Even though Democrats and Republicans might have ideological differences, I think we should be able to all agree on the basics that maybe if you're, sexually harassing or assaulting or have issues of domestic violence or you're stealing funds from FEMA, maybe you should not be in Congress, right? Like maybe it's time for you to go home and figure those issues out, not on taxpayer dollars.
The 7-term congressman announced his looming exit on the same day the House Ethics Committee had begun an investigation into claims of sexual misconduct. That probe now ends, but the Manhattan District Attorney's Office is reviewing one of the sexual assault claims that allegedly took place in a New York hotel room. FBI Director Kash Patel reacting to Swalwell's resignation on X, writing, "Eric Swalwell has maintained that none of the allegations against him are true, and now that he's resigned, we would welcome him to sit down with the FBI and share any information he has." Swalwell could also be hit with lawsuits from his accusers.
I can recall I was pushing him off of me saying no.
His lawyers say they are ready to fight.
We take these allegations very seriously. The congressman categorically denies any misconduct took place, and we intend to vindicate his rights in court.
Once a top contender in California's race for governor, Sunday, Swalwell suspended his campaign. Voters, supporters, and endorsements will now swing toward a crowded field of candidates.
Unfortunately, this is the kind of thing that draws people to consume news about a race.
Swalwell's name will still appear on the June 2nd primary ballot for governor. The deadline to remove his name already passed. State election law requires Governor Newsom to call a special election within 2 weeks once Swalwell leaves office. Tim Pulliam, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Tim, thank you. Tim.
Mark, lawmakers were threatening.
So this is the details. I got one of the accusers. We're going to play her interview. It's kind of serious, but before we do that, let's get some more background information.
Sir, enclosed is my resignation letter to Texas Governor Greg Abbott, effective April 14th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It has been my privilege to serve the residents of Texas's 23rd Congressional District. Signed sincerely, Tony Gonzalez, Member of Congress.
The chair lays before the House a communication.
The Honorable, the Speaker, House of Representatives, sir. I am deeply sorry to my family, staff, and constituents for mistakes and judgment I've made in my past. I will fight the serious false allegations made against me. However, I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make. I am aware of efforts to bring an immediate expulsion vote against me and other members. Expelling anyone in Congress without due process within days of an allegation being made is wrong.
We turn
now to Capitol Hill, where Democratic Congressmember Eric Swalwell of California, Republican Tony Gonzalez of Texas both resigned Congress on Tuesday. Each had faced potential expulsion votes after being accused of sexual misconduct involving former staffers.
Congress itself shouldn't see these resignations as the end of the story here. They actually should see it as the beginning of investigating not only what happened with these two individuals, but they need to understand whether or not they have a problem that is more of a pattern. If you were talking about any other employment setting and you saw two very powerful individuals with very serious allegations, you would wonder if you had a pattern. And so Congress, I think, has a problem of it only investigating itself. They probably need some sort of outside, independent, and transparent look into what exactly is happening. Whether staffers and interns and other people who engage regularly with Congress are experiencing harassment and violence, and whether or not their systems of reporting are working at all. Part of what is going on is you have a sense of entitlement and a sense that there won't be consequences no matter the conduct. And that comes from the highest levels. The tone that is being set right now about having no consequence, whether you're talking about the president for his own actions or other cabinet members, there needs to be a giant reset.
Do you agree? Should there be a third-party investigation into the Congress and the Congress acts based on what you have heard from Swalwell and Gonzalez? Again, Swalwell, Congressman Swalwell, leader in the Republican Party, forced to step down. Leader in the gubernatorial race here in California for Democratic governor, and also congressman being forced to step down because of SA accusations. Breaking news. Breaking news. Double tap, hit the like button. Hit the like button. Come on in, you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. Congressman Eric Swalwell. We get into the video.
Ethics Committee investigation and expulsion. Embattled Congressman Eric Swalwell says he will leave office, answering the call from a wide swath of both Republicans and Democrats, urging him to step down following allegations of sexual assault and misconduct. Swalwell continuing to deny many of the allegations, calling them false, but adding, "I must take responsibility and ownership for the mistakes I did make." The California Democrat also made note of the plans to potentially kick him out of office. Expelling anyone in Congress without due process within days of an allegation being made is wrong, Swalwell said in a statement, but adding he knew it was time for him to go. It's also wrong for constituents to have me distracted from duties. Therefore, I plan to resign my seat in Congress. Swalwell was a leading candidate for governor of California.
The next governor has to be a fighter protector for all Californians.
but suspended his campaign in response to the backlash. His resignation will end the threat of a congressional probe, but he is still facing the possibility of a criminal investigation in New York, where one of the alleged incidents took place. Multiple women have accused Swalwell of sexual misconduct and assault. One woman telling the San Francisco Chronicle that she had several sexual encounters with the congressman while working in his office. She also accused him of sexually assaulting her twice while she was too intoxicated to consent. NBC News has not verified her allegations, but it confirmed her identity and that she worked for Swalwell from 2019 until 2021. This accuser sharing her story with CNN.
And he said to me, "You're right. It's probably not good for a congressman to be caught with his pants down."
All right, Ryan Nobles joins us now live from Capitol Hill. And Ryan, we just got word another congressman facing serious allegations is also resigning tonight.
Yeah, that's the Republican Tony Gonzalez of Texas. He was accused of having an affair with a staffer who later took her own life. He, too, was facing an ethics probe and possible expulsion. The fact that now Gonzalez, a Republican, and Swalwell, a Democrat, have both decided to leave office means that those tight margins in the House of Representatives will not change. Tom.
Double tap, hit the like button. Do you guys think they should have stepped down? Two Democrats. This is your Democratic Party, man. I've been telling y'all this is your, and I believe, yes, it's rampant in the Democratic Party. How many people think it's more people like this in the Democratic? I told you Epstein didn't have no Republican friends. Epstein didn't have no Republican friends. The DNC still has $35,000 of Epstein dollars. He donated to the DNC. He donated to the Senate. This, I believe, the Democrats are showing their skirt of their proclivities, right? And I believe when you look at Gavin Newsom, when you look at what he's done to California, you got to be honest about these guys. This is not just one guy. This was your lead guy. Newsom supported him to be governor. This was the head guy who they wanted to be the next Gavin Newsom. Doesn't he look like one of those guys, right? Doesn't he look like one of those guys with the strong chin? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't he look like one? I believe he looks like one of those guys. This was supposed to be the next guy, according to Newsom, and they were working to get him in place. Turns out he's a dirty rat. Turns out he's a dirty rat. Can you believe it? And he won't even take full credit. He won't even take full credit. He's trying to say he doesn't believe it's right that he gets sanctioned so quickly, but he's still going to step down. He's stepping down because he wants to avoid prosecution, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of the accusers. Let me know if you believe her or you believe Swalwell. Why do you think he stepped down? Did he step down because he was innocent, or did he step down because he was guilty? This is the Perfect Timing Podcast coming to you live. Congressman Eric Swalwell, lead for governor's race. Now, keep in mind, with this story, Gavin Newsom has called for a special election in August. Double tap, hit the like button. In case you didn't know, Eric Swalwell, lead Democrat of governor race in California, present governor Gavin Newsom, we're supposed to vote in November, right? He called for an early special election, August 18th. Double tap, hit the like button. The Democrats have no couth.
Thank you all for coming. Lonna.
Hello, everyone.
Get closer.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Lonna Drews.
Hello.
In 2018, while I was living and working as a model in Beverly Hills, and I also owned a fashion software company, I had contact with Eric Swalwell on 3 separate occasions after meeting him socially.
The likes up, y'all.
He offered me connections to further my software company. And I also had an interest in local politics. He invited me to 2 public events. I knew he was married at the time and that his wife was pregnant. He was my friend.
Uh-oh. Wow.
On the 3rd occasion, I believe he drugged my drink.
So he said his wife, she said his wife, but what does that say about her? that she is fucking a married man. Not only she fucking a married man, but she just submitted, I knew he was married and I knew his wife was pregnant. Double tap it the like, but get the motherfucking likes up. And do you hear her voice? Hi, my name is Lonna. I was a model. Yeah. Come on now, y'all. Lonna the model was fucking a married man who knew his wife was pregnant. Let's listen to that again. Y'all tell me what y'all hear, because I'm a man. I may not be hearing it correctly. Because you know, men, we got ears. Our ears are like ears attached to a dick. So, you know what I'm saying? Y'all help me out in the chat. What do y'all hear?
My software company in Beverly Hills. And I also owned a fashion software company. I had contact with Eric Swalwell on 3 separate occasions after meeting him socially. He offered me connections to further my software company. And I also had an interest in local politics. He invited.
So she's a grifter. She's a grifter. I don't understand how these stories go further than this. I mean, I'm not a Democrat. I don't really like Eric, but I'm a man. You know what I'm saying? I'm always men first. That's one thing about MAGA, Republicans, America first, MAGA first, men first, father, family, God, and country, man. Father, family, God. I'm big on this husband, wife, this father, family, God, and country. You know what I'm saying? So I got a bad taste in my mouth for people like this, right? This is a gorgeous woman. She uses her sex, her voice, her position to get what she wants. Did everybody hear what I just heard? She just said that she met him out. She out with her titties out, you know, doing her model thing. You know, I don't understand why they be acting like the pussy wasn't out. Like she wasn't out trying to give up the pussy, right? She out with the pussy. She meet him out. She got the pussy out. I don't understand how is this a man wrong for meeting a bitch with her pussy out and this is what so she explains that I knew who he was. He was in politics. He had motion. I'm a bad bitch. I got a company and he could help me with my company and he could help me get into politics. What about this story makes you think she wouldn't give him no pussy? This time, I mean, straight up, man. What about this? You didn't meet him in a business setting. Y'all met out. You probably got your titties out, your ass out. You a model. You out drinking, having fun. You out with a congressman. He cute. He was in the military. He in good shape. He got millions. He got motion. What about this man says that this woman wouldn't want to give him no pussy? Just straight up. He's a veteran. He's a strong American, strong jaw, white boy, strong cock. You feel me? Got money. You feel me? You a model. You a bad bitch. Y'all both out having a good time. Not only would it be fun to have sex, because women like sex too, but he can benefit you. Let's listen to it again. Let y'all tell me in the chat, because I'm a man. I told you, I'm a dick with ears. So please, y'all tell me. I could be wrong in the chat. Listen, let me tell me what you hear.
In 2018, while I was living and working as a model in Beverly Hills, and I also owned a fashion software company, I had contact with Eric Swalwell on 3 separate occasions after meeting.
What do contact mean? Do contact mean FUICING? What do contact mean?
Meeting him socially. He offered me connections to further my software company.
So that sounds like a quid pro quo. How would she say later that something happened that was impropriety? She said he offered me in exchange for what, man? We understand English. It's like women like this don't understand that intelligent people are listening to you speak. When you should phrase it properly because it matters, especially in legal proceedings. He offered you in exchange for what, man? That means you guys had an exchange. That means he didn't take the PUSSY. That means you gave it in exchange. There was an offer. God, dog, do y'all hear what I hear?
And I also had an interest in local politics. He invited me to 2 public events. I knew he was married at the time and that his wife was pregnant. He was my friend. On the third occasion, I believe he drugged my drink.
Wait. She gonna
I
try
only had.
I told you, intellectual. Wait. She gonna try to just slip past that. Y'all, come on. Wait a minute, y'all. She just said, I'm saying, okay, y'all. Okay. So many words. It's so many words. She said we had sex. We had consensual sex. We met out. We had consensual sex. He made me offers. So we had sex. So did you guys just hear how she slipped that in? She said on the third time. This is the Me Too era logic. This never happened before Me Too. This logic that you could somehow do something inappropriate with a woman you are in a consensual, loving relationship with. You understand what I'm saying? As a man, men are not, I'm an intellectual. I'm smart. Most men are not as smart as me. Most men are just dicks with ears, thinking what they dick all the time. So we think a woman likes us. If a woman is sleeping with us, kissing us, we think she likes us, right? So we don't know that between sex act number 1, sex act number 2, and by sex act number 3, the bitch don't like me no more. I'm sorry, I didn't know. You still bent over and opened up. Let me be quiet. I gotta watch my mouth. So by the third time, you didn't like me no more, but I didn't know because we still had sex. And then this is what women do, because they like sex too. So they have sex with you even though they don't like you. And after the last time y'all have sex, they call you and say some shit like, I don't want to have sex with you no more. I'm about to cuss. Woman, we just had sex. You know what I'm saying? Women, this women know. So let's listen again. Let's listen again. Let's listen again. She said on the third time he drugged my drink, inferring that the first 2 contacts, i.e. sex, not all women. Ashley said not all women. Listen, ladies, Ashley, you a lady. Ashley, you a lady. Ashley, I remember you told me you married. So Ashley's married. Ashley's a married woman. So she carry herself like a woman of God with respect. But Ashley, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know I'm saying? But check this out. Let's listen. So she's inferring that the first 2 contacts were consensual, but the third contact is where she feels that he may have, but she can't be sure, right? There's no way to be absolutely sure. In hindsight, is 2020, because this is like 10 years ago, right? She's telling us a story that took place 10 years ago, 10 or more years ago, right? So there's no way to prove that he actually drugged her. Does everybody understand? So let's listen.
He was married at the time and that his wife was pregnant.
She knew he was pregnant.
On the third occasion, I believe he drugged my drink. I only had one.
Now, I'm inferring that the first 2 occasions they consensually had sex. She's not admitting that, but she said they had 3 contacts, and now she's saying on the third contact he may have drugged. I believe, because she can't prove it. Right? The only reason you can bring cases like this is because of Me Too legislation that came out during Johnny Depp that extends the statute of limitations. Double tap at the like button. You know I did my research, right? I covered the Johnny Depp trial. I covered Jay-Z. I covered Sean Diddy Combs. And I talked about these Me Too laws in California, Texas, and New York. Did you guys know that they're all different? It's unconstitutional. It actually should go to the Supreme Court because there's different laws in different states, and men should be held accountable like this. What do you mean, perfect? I mean, in California, the statute of limitations was extended about several years. And in Texas, it was extended so many years. And in New York, it was extended like 20 years. So in each state, the statute of limitations was extended a different period of time. So how can that be constitutional when in America, you got to have consistent law across the land, but no one ever talks about it. So the only reason you can bring out cases like this is because of Me Too legislation that came about during the Johnny Depp trial when the ACLU wrote the fake Amber Heard op-ed where they lied about Johnny Depp abusing her. When ACLU asked under oath, why did you write the fake op-ed? ACLU spokesman said we had legislation on the Senate floor. That legislation was the Me Too legislation that got Sean Diddy Combs prosecuted and etc. How many people knew that? How many people knew that the only reason Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs were able to be prosecuted, because remember when it first came out, they talked about the statute of limitations, but Cuomo, just like Eric Swalwell, I said Cuomo, ex-governor of New York, Cuomo had to step down. Isn't this ironic, all these Democrats I can talk about? Isn't this ironic, all these Democrats I can talk about? Cuomo, Cuomo had to step down in New York. This is how we get Kathy. This is how we get a female, the first female governor of New York. She wasn't elected the governor. Cuomo had to step down after Me Too allegations of grabbing and groping his staff. Did you guys know that? Did you guys know that? But Cuomo signed the Me Too legislation. As soon as he signed the Me Too legislation that extended the statute of limitations, then he suffered. Ain't that ironic? Then he suffered his Me Too allegations and was forced to step down, much like Eric Swalwell. Let's go back to the video.
He was my friend. On the third occasion, I believe he drugged my drink. I only had one glass of wine. We were supposed to go to a political event, and he said he needed to get paperwork from his hotel room. When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated, and I couldn't move my arms or my body. He raped me.
Wait. You can't just jump that far, you guys. I mean, you physically had enough wherewithal. I mean, think about it from a legal standpoint. She claims that, look, it doesn't work that way. Is it magical? Is it that you had enough physical wherewithal, mentally and physically, to make it to his hotel room? He didn't bring you to the hotel room. Did you hear that part? She had enough physical and mental wherewithal to make it to the hotel room. She's saying to us, once she gets through the threshold, listen to the scenario. She had a drink. She gets invited to the hotel. This is what happens. She has a drink. She gets invited back to the hotel. She has enough physical and mental wherewithal to walk physically and mentally to go back to his hotel room, enter into the hotel room. When she crosses the threshold of the doorway, then she becomes mentally and physically capacitated, but not before that. But not before that. And I don't like Eric. I don't like Democrats. I'm a Trumper. I'm Republican. I'm conservative, but I'm men first. So this story is hard to follow. You took a drink upon your own volition. No one forced you to have the drink. You had one drink. Then you were invited back to a hotel room. You made your own mental mind up as a grown adult woman. You could have went home and said, I am tipsy. Everybody listening? This is what I would teach my daughter. If my wife told me this bullshit, we would get divorced, because this is what I would tell a bitch. You drank the drink on your own. Then after drinking the drink, supposedly you knew you were drunk, but yet and still, you wanted something from this man, dick, money, or position, motion, something, because you drank the drink, knew you were drunk, and still made up your mind to go to the room. So you made up your mind to go to the room. Physically, you went to the room. Mentally, you made up your mind and go to the room, knowing that you just had a drink of wine. This is what I'm going to tell my bitch. This is what I would tell my daughter. if she tried to blame it on anything else. You drank the drink on your own. After you drank the drink, if you felt drunk, you had an opportunity to leave. Instead, you wanted something from this man. So you made a decision to go to his room. You went to his room physically and mentally. Then you want me to believe once you got into his room, I couldn't help myself, Daddy. I couldn't help myself, Daddy. I couldn't move, Daddy. He just took me, Daddy. It's still your pussy. Nah, bitch. Nah, bitch. If you believe that, man, your wife just cheated on you. If you believe this story, your wife just cheated on you. If you believe that, your wife just cheated on you. Straight up. Straight up. Let's listen again. Let's listen again. Let's listen to her scenario. If you believe your wife just cheated on you, bro.
I believe he drugged my drink. I only had one glass of wine. We were supposed to go to a political event, and he said he needed to get paperwork from his hotel room. When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated, and I couldn't move my arms or my body. He raped me.
How did you get into the hotel? I forgot the body. She said, I thought she just said I couldn't move my arms. But the voice is part of it, man. Hey, Drewski, please do this. I couldn't move my arms and my body. Or your body. You couldn't move your arms and your body. Were you talking like that? Shit. You couldn't move your arms and your body. Well, can you tell everybody, how did you get your ass? How did you get your body in the room? If you couldn't move your arms and your body, how did your body get in the room? Please, from a legal perspective, not to be a man, but from a legal perspective.
Move my arms or my body. When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated, and I couldn't move my arms or my body. He raped me, and he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness. And I thought I died. I did not.
So she had an orgasm. I've heard that before too. She said, I thought I died. Oh, poor Eric. Poor Eric. Poor Eric. And I believe they had sex after this too. Let's listen again.
And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness. And I thought I died. I did not consent to any sexual activity. Although I did not undergo a rape kit at the time, I disclosed the assault to the people closest to me. I also recorded these.
That's more Me Too. For those of you listening just now, tuning in, we're talking about Eric Swalwell resigning. And this is Lonna. This is Lonna. Let's see. This is Lonna Drews, one of the accusers, and she's giving her account. So the lead in the Democratic gubernatorial race in California, Eric Swalwell, also congressman, also veteran and celebrity, congressman, veteran, celebrity, Democrat, star, accused of SA and 4 individuals. He's since resigned and no longer running for governor in California. He's since resigned and no longer running for governor in California. And this is the accuser. She said they had drinks. They met and had 3 contacts. Everybody listen, I'm going to recap. She claimed they had 3 contacts. On the 3rd contact, she claimed she had a drink of wine and he invited her to go back to the hotel room. She said she went back to his hotel room, and then once she arrived inside the hotel room, she said she couldn't move her arms or her body. Then she said he took advantage of her to the point where she almost died. Sound like she had an orgasm to me. This is where we are, just catching you up to speed. Again, Congressman Eric Swalwell, lead Democrat in the gubernatorial race. And keep in mind, Gavin Newsom, after hearing about this, has called for a special election for governor in California for August. We're supposed to vote in November. Gavin Newsom has called for a special election August 18th. I'm just doing my job bringing you guys the news. Double tap, hit the like button. And this is her words, not my words.
Me. And he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness. And I thought I died.
It sounded like they had a good night. Well, let's keep going.
I did not consent to any sexual activity. Although I did not undergo a rape kit at the time, I disclosed the assault to the people closest to me.
So this is another Me Too. That she never went to the police, she never displayed a rape kit, and she never said yes. So in the Me Too logic, everybody listening, in Me Too logic, it says that you have to get consent from the woman. Now, Eric is my age. When we grew up, if a woman comes back to your room and takes off her clothes and bends over and allow you to put your penis inside of her, that is called consent, right? But in Me Too logic, if you never say to that woman after she pulls down her panties, after she comes to her room, after she opens up her legs and spreads her flower, if you do not say to her, hey, Lonna, is it okay if I put my penis in your body? If you don't do that, according to Me Too logic, then Lonna could come back 10 years later and say, well, Eric never got my consent. Eric never said, Lonna, do you consent? Even though that language didn't exist 10 years ago. Do you guys understand that terminology? Not to say that Eric wouldn't do it, right? Not to say that Eric wouldn't do it. It just wasn't part of the lexicon. That language didn't exist for a 45-year-old man 10 years ago out getting some pussy from a model bitch. Me and the model bitch is hanging out. We didn't fuck before. She had a drink. She coming back to my hotel room. She took off her panties. She cocked her legs open. In this time, 10 years ago, men weren't trained to obtain consent. It was enough to say, hey, you want to go back to my room? And the bitch said, yeah. And the bitch takes off her clothes. She didn't say he undressed her. She didn't say she made him or anything, right? She didn't say any of that because legally she doesn't want to lie if she has to take a lie detector test. So she's not saying that he made her do anything. What she is saying is this Me Too logic. Hey, he didn't say, Lonna, do you want to have sex? And I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I did go to his room. I took off my clothes. I laid on my back. I opened my legs and we had sex. I never said no. I even had an orgasm. He choked me. I passed out. I came. But after the sex was over, after my orgasm and my climax, when I got home and I woke up the next morning, I realized that Eric never got my permission, despite me. Right? Eric never got my permission. And this is the thing. Today, men know to get consent and get permission. So I don't think it's cool to put on Eric when back in the day, this dynamic didn't exist. What existed is, would you like to go back to my room? There was no precursor that you should also, Eric, ask this woman if she would like to have sex with you and get consent. Now, even if he did, there's not even proof to say that he didn't, right? There's not even proof to say that he didn't. For all we know, he may have gotten proof. He may have gotten consent because they've had sex before. This is the third contact, not the first, not the second. Okay, let's go back to the video.
I also recorded these events in my handwritten calendar. The assault and its impact were later documented during my therapy sessions at a sexual assault center in Connecticut. It had a profound impact on my mental health. I self-medicated in an unhealthy way. I did not want to live anymore. I cried all the time for years. At the time, I was in a dating relationship with a boyfriend I was fully committed to. I've never cheated in my life, and I would never have engaged in a consensual sexual encounter with Eric Swalwell. That reality further underscores the non-consensual nature of what occurred. It was a politically unusual and intense time in Beverly Hills, and I was considering a run for city council, which placed me in proximity to political figures and events and added to the pressure to remain composed and silent. Eric was aware I owned a software company, and he spoke repeatedly about his ability to make introductions in Silicon Valley, referencing his political representation and influence there. I was not interested in him romantically, but I was interested in the business relationship and professional connections he offered to provide. My delay in taking action against Eric was driven by fear, not doubt. Fear of his political power, his background as an attorney, and his family law enforcement ties. I have never doubted what happened. I stand with the other women who have come forward, and I will be making a report to law enforcement shortly with my attorneys.
What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Is Eric guilty? Let's get some more details. So the timeline, the drink. Drew stated she only had one glass of wine earlier that evening at a restaurant opening. Now, that she didn't say all of that. This is get the context. She said she only had one glass of wine that evening at a restaurant opening. The physical shift. She reported that by the time they were on their way to the next event, her limbs felt heavy and she felt like she had been drugged. The state of mind. She explicitly said she was incapacitated before she even entered the hotel room. The paperwork, they were going to the room to party. They weren't going to the room to party. Swalwell allegedly told her he needed to stop by his hotel room to retrieve paperwork for the political event they were scheduled to attend together. The professional context, he had been positioning himself as a mentor, offering her Silicon Valley connections for her fashion software company, and she wanted those connections. She wanted those, and she wanted political connections. Going to the room was framed as a quick professional stop. So she had one drink earlier that evening at an opening. So they had spent the entire night. Oh, let me find, were they even together? were they, because she didn't specify that, were they together when she had a drink at the restaurant opening? Now think about that. She said they were supposed to go to a business meeting, right? For politics, right? But she didn't talk about the fact that they went to the opening of a restaurant, and that's what they. So if he poisoned her, when she tells a story, you would think, Bill Cosby, and they're in a private room, and he bought wine, he got personal glasses, he got his wine, his glasses, he put something in the bottle or in the glass, poured it for her, gave it to her, and drugged her. Now we come to learn that she drank the wine at a restaurant opening. How likely is it that he actually drugged her at a restaurant opening? Let me keep going with the details. The details matter, man. The details matter, man. Okay. Yes, the receipts show they were together at the restaurant opening when she had that drink. This wasn't a case of her having a drink alone and then meeting him. He was with her at the event. Here's the breakdown. They shared the shared event. They meet that evening at a restaurant opening of Avra, AVRA, in Beverly Hills. Lonna even provided a photograph as evidence showing the two of them together at the specific event, which she used as a backdrop. Okay, the one glass. She testified that she had exactly one glass of wine while they were at the restaurant opening together. She said that she believed he drugged her drink during this time. They left the restaurant together to head to the political event, the onset of sin. So I want to know how how did he do it? Because it sounds like the restaurant poured the drink. How did he do it? Because she doesn't say that, and I think that's very important. How did he do it? Right? Don't you guys want to know? That's the biggest thing in the whodunit is how did you do it, right? And then why leave out? Not only that, right? Not only that, if you want to believe her, one of the things I'll always be like, why leave it out? Why leave out these details, right? Why leave out these details? And you could have told us all these things. Why leave out these details? Why? I believe these details matter. Why leave out these details that you were at a restaurant in Beverly Hills? Let me go back to my research. The crowded bar handshake. Lonna was at the opening of the restaurant in Beverly Hills, a high-end, high chaos event with celebrities and politicians everywhere. Isn't that funny? Celebrities, multiple celebrities, multiple politicians, and this is the thing where people think they're so special. And why would he want to drug you and fuck you so bad? And why would everybody be okay with him drugging and fucking you? Okay, just keep listening. You gotta keep all this in mind. This was a high-end opening, so a lot of people saw them there together. I don't know, and he got a married wife with a baby. So this is a trip, man. This is Democrats, right? Celebrities and politicians everywhere in that environment. The server doesn't always hand the glass directly to you. They set it on a tray or a table. The window, all it takes is 3 seconds of looking at a camera for a photo, and but that's not good enough. This is speculation. The tactic while showing off her thing, and Swalwell was playing the Silicon Valley connector role. He was talking about making introductions to paper. The restaurant was just the hook. He didn't, but the reality, by the time they reached the hotel, the drug was already pattern receipt. A former staffer described nearly identical situation in New York. So there's a pattern. This isn't just one story. She is the 5th woman to come forward. A former staffer described a nearly identical situation in New York Hotel 2024, incapacitated, followed by non-consensual acts. When multiple women from different cities have different years described the same physical sensation of heaviness and loss of control after being with a same man, it's not a coincidence. So that's what people are saying. I'm just saying with all those celebrities and politicians, I'm like, people make themselves special for no reason. Like, I don't believe she was that special as she trying to make herself out to be. Now that we're hearing the details, you know how people always have, because listen to this other part of, I was going to be on the city council and I was going to be in politics and I was it's since I meet a lot of bitches like this because I work in corporate America. I have a great resume. And a lot of times bitches like this get the job before me. You know what I'm saying? Because as a black man, it's very difficult when you're this intelligent. So bitches like this come in with all of this bullshit. But if you listen closely, the bitch hasn't done shit. And now here it is, she's trying to get money, but she hasn't accomplished shit in her life. Now listen, she said, I was gonna be a model. I was gonna have a software company, and I was gonna. How many of y'all know these pretty girls who have this long resume of shit that they was about to do? I was about to go to school. I was about to be a nurse. I own my own company. When you really look, they didn't really own their own company. They had a business idea, and their dad was gonna give them money. They had a location, but they never truly really were in business. You don't understand what I'm saying? So this is what she's saying. She never really had a website. You know what I'm saying? She never really had any of these things. She never got elected to political office. She never did any of the things. And now, again, it's like the story of her life. Now she's blaming someone else for her not ever getting these things. This happened back in 2018. So now someone else is to blame for her not having her website, her not being on the city council, and she got on drugs and all this stuff. Think about what she's saying. And I know people like this. You know what I'm saying? In 2018, Eric Swalwell was a rising star in Congress and cable news. Lonna was an inspiring local politician and fastest software owner. Debate, he didn't pick a celebrity who had the same level of meet the promise. She testified, repeatedly talked about his Silicon Valley connections. The no proof, people say there's no proof because there was no kit. And not only that, I'm just saying, to me, it's highly unlikely he drugged her like some CIA agent for what and why. You just said how hot he was. He could sleep. He could sleep with women like this all day. Why do this at this level and so well? You know what I'm saying? He could like why do this? Why do this? Y'all, what y'all think? Accountability rarely exists in women said by a woman. You know what I'm saying? You say, why didn't she report it right away? I didn't say that. I didn't say why didn't she report it. I didn't even go there yet. I was just going to the fact of what she left out about what actually happened. I don't know why she didn't report it. She said she spoke to a therapist because she had a drug addiction. She wasn't really actually clear about that. We can play it again. But I never brought up her reporting of the event. I don't mind, you know what I'm saying? I brought up the fact that she told friends. I brought that up because of Me Too legislation. And this is what men and people who love men should understand if you have a young child about these Me Too laws. What she is doing is she is laying out predicate acts that have been spoken to in this new legislation that expands the parameters of what you can be charged with and be sued with. So she is saying certain things because she know it meets the level. This, I don't believe it's constitutional. A lot of men like me, because she's trying to change the Constitution through these Me Too laws and this new ideology by saying, number one, he didn't get me to say yes. That's not in the law. There's no law that say men have to get consent, right? I agree with it, but there is no law that says men have to get consent, i.e., when you have sex with a woman, that you have to say, Lonna, do you want to have sex? And she has to say yes. Because if that was a law, then that would be like a contract. That would be a legal contract, and then it would be like you would be purchasing sex. Because if you require me to do that by law, I would want a receipt, because how would I prove that I actually obtained the legal consent to have sex? There would have to be some type of signature, or it would be recorded, and then there would be some type of cost, and then it would no longer be consensual sex, because there would be a exchange and a receipt. So there's no law saying that you have to do that. I agree with it, but there's no law saying it. So first she says he didn't obtain consent. This is also Me Too ideology. Then she says she told her friends. Why did she interject that she told her friends? She interjects that she told her friends because of the Me Too ideology, right? And she wants to establish that I didn't go to the police, but under the new Me Too ideology, I did tell some people. So it should qualify me for criminal and civil prosecution. He didn't obtain consent. That's Me Too laws. We've extended the statute of limitation. There's no way to prove. When you extend the statute of limitation, what men argue is, how do you prove these claims when you extend the statute of limitation to go back to 2018 and go back 10 years? How do you prove it? Well, they've laid out these things of how you prove it. And she is laying out her case in the way she is laying it out to prove a Me Too case. He didn't get consent, which I argue didn't exist in the lexicon. He didn't get consent, and I told my friends, which is why you get those 5 women testifying in the Bill Cosby trial, and one of the women who just got like $40 million in a civil suit in the Bill Cosby case for similar things as just stating something, for something that happened over 30 years ago. For stating something. That's why it's being phrased this way. That's why Gloria Allred is right there next to her. Y'all gotta tell me what y'all think, man. Y'all gotta tell me what y'all think, man. You gotta tell me what y'all think, man. The last thing, the last story is the Trump closing the Straits. But I got some more on the Eric. Let's go. I got some more on the Eric Swalwell. Let's go. I got another one on the Eric Swalwell. Let's go to this right here. Let's tee up the video. Let's tee it up. The Manhattan District Attorney officially has launched an investigation into Eric Swalwell following multiple allegations of grape staffers per CNN. This piece of trash needs to resign. He destroyed enough lives. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Eric Swalwell, leader in the government,
decided to ask him to
has resigned.
And I did this because I was so far removed from what had happened in 2019. I felt safe because I was established. I had a partner. I felt more secure that I could have a strictly professional relationship with this person. After that bar closed, we went to another. I went to the bathroom and I don't remember anything after that.
You don't remember anything?
I remember the next day, I can see flashes of that evening of him on top of me pushing him off, him grabbing me. It was a lot more aggressive. It was aggressive.
Did you say no?
Yes, I said no. In my flash that I can recall, I was pushing him off of me saying no.
And what did he do?
He didn't stop.
He didn't stop. And you woke up the next morning.
I woke up the next morning naked, alone in his hotel room. I, for a moment, didn't even know I was in his hotel room. That's how intoxicated I was. And I called my mom the only person I could think that could help me.
And we were able to corroborate that by speaking with friends and family she confided in, reviewing photos and screenshots of contemporaneous text messages. And we also reviewed a message from her medical provider the week after she received the pregnancy and STD tests, calling her a
So we got multiple accusations from Eric Swalwell, congressman, veteran, and lead in the Democratic race in California, but he's no longer running for governor in California because he is now stepped down. I believe he's trying to evade prosecution. Right? I think he stepped down to evade prosecution.
Seized an Iranian flag cargo ship that was trying.
So now to tee up the video, we going to the Iron Cave blockade. Donald Trump. Trump news. Giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues. Giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues. Trump's ironclad blockade. Double tap, hit the like button. We back to the blockade, the successful blockade. Let me see, do I got the right banner? There we go. Now this is the right banner. This is the Iron Cave blockade, and she's going to discuss the Iranian ship. So last time we was live, we talked about the junior sailor who made the Chinese turn around. Now the Iranians tried to break our blockade. With their blockade, we had to blow their ass up. Let's double tap at the like button. America is the greatest. America first. MAGA lives. America first. MAGA lives. Let's go, MAGA. Let's go. Let's go, MAGA. Let's go.
To avert the naval blockade near that cargo ship that was trying to avert the naval blockade near that critical waterway. The Pentagon released the video. This comes just hours after the president announced a second round of peace talks on Monday in Pakistan. Officials in that country were preparing for the arrival of delegations from the U.S. and Iran. Moments ago, Iran promised a swift response to the U.S. seizure. The fate of those peace talks is unclear tonight, and the stakes could not be higher as the ceasefire is set to expire on Wednesday. We have team coverage tonight. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leads us off from Tel Aviv.
Tonight, as critical new talks between the US and Iran hang in the balance, the standoff over the Strait of Hormuz escalating. This dramatic video released by CENTCOM showing the moment US forces attacked a ship that defied orders to turn around. CENTCOM saying the vessel ignored repeated warnings over a 6-hour period. Officials say more than 24 ships have turned round as a result of the blockade. President Trump posting that US forces have fired on and seized an Iranian flagged vessel that tried to get past the American blockade and ignored warnings to stop, writing, "The Iranian crew refused to listen, so our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engine room. Right now, US Marines have custody of the vessel." This comes one day after Iran fired on 2 Indian-registered ships near the Strait of Hormuz.
So people wondering about the status of the closure of the Straits of Hormuz. Today, Americans fired on an Iranian ship, boarded the ship, made it turn around. Double tap at the like button. Trump is the greatest president ever.
Captain of one sending this angry radio message in audio obtained by ABC News.
Sepa Navy. This is Motoranga Sanmar Header. You gave me clearance to go. My name second on your list. You gave me clearance to go. You are fighting now. Let me turn back.
And now uncertainty over planned peace talks.
Let me turn back. Let me turn back. People saying, this is for people saying we don't have command over the strait. Did you hear that guy begging the Americans to let him turn back? He was begging the Americans to let him turn back around before we blew them out the water. This is the facts on the ground. You're not hearing anywhere else but the Perfect Timing Podcast. Double tap at the like button. #1 podcast for geopolitical debate on YouTube. Double tap at the like button. Like, share, and subscribe with a like-minded person.
In Islamabad tomorrow.
J.D. Vance in Pakistan. Marco Rubio, I mean, the Trump admin, look at Jared Kushner. The Trump ad, for those of you who have been paying attention, Marco Rubio in Venezuela, Marco Rubio in Cuba, Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff in Abu Dhabi with the peace talks with Russia and Ukraine. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner with the peace talks with Israel and Gaza and the 21 peace plan that was signed in Egypt. So much is going on with this administration behind the scenes, taking care of work, that people are just doing work. There are people doing work while people be player hating and trolling. The Trump administration is about work. So now we went to Pakistan. J.D. Vance did his 1-2 like Marco Rubio, but we were able to get a peace agreement. I believe the art of the deal is negotiating. Trump wrote the book on the art of the deal, and this is called the 1-2. When we say ceasefire, when we say this is a negotiation tactic. I've said this from the entire time. The closing of the Straits of Hormuz is a negotiation tactic. It will not only bring Iran to the table, it will bring China and Russia. Double tap, hit the like button. The art of the deal, the greatest negotiator, the king of New York, Donald Trump and his cronies.
Hours after President Trump announced that a high-level U.S. delegation was headed to Pakistan, Iran state news agency reported that Tehran rejects taking part in talks and that the U.S. naval blockade of Iranian ports is violating the ceasefire. The impasse comes with time running out on the ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran, scheduled to expire Wednesday.
And unfortunately, we'll have to start dropping bombs again.
This morning, President Trump doubling down on his threats, telling our John Carl that a peace deal will get done one way or another, the nice way or the hard way. It's going to happen. You can quote me. And tonight, Pakistan trying to bring the U.S. and Iran together. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif speaking by phone with Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian, but it's still not clear if talks tomorrow will happen. Lindsay, this is a critical moment. The president's made clear these talks are a last chance to make a deal. If they fail, or indeed don't happen at all, then the ceasefire is breaking down and the war starting up again. Lindsay?
Such a pivotal time, Ian. Thank you.
Double tap, hit the like button. Go ahead and hit the super
showdown.
chat. Go ahead and hit the super chat. You're so inclined to hit the super chat. Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. What else? I have something else. What else I have for you? What else I have for you? Double tap, hit the like button if you're so inclined. Chris Como, producer, pushes back when he claims Trump is in decline. Trump is in decline. I don't think so. I think we got 2028 straight. 2026, we in the mix. Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance been so successful in Cuba, Venezuela, and now Iran. Let's take a look.
Now isn't who Trump was 20 years ago. Okay. But when you make the standard, yeah, you just don't listen to what he says. Think about how pathetic and dangerous that is for us.
Listen, the one big compliment, and we should jump to break because our board is completely on fire. The one big compliment I would give to Trump is this guy's 80 years old. He's really, his energy level, I don't think he really is any different than he was. And I've been following him my whole life.
But that's not the metric that matters. I don't care how many things a day he can do. I know, but
I don't think his brain is any different.
What matter?
I think it's the
What
same
does it
long,
matter?
janky brain it's always been.
So Rocky, your cat, is fat. If they give you a pill that makes him less fat, he loses a third of his body weight. And all of a sudden, all he does is jump up and grab your drapes and rip them in half. Is the energy a good thing? No is the answer. Same thing here. The problem with your analysis is his energy is part of the problem.
So we want a sleepy Joe Biden. What the fuck is he talking about? So we want a sleepy Joe Biden. His energy is part of the problem. Did he just fucking say that? His energy is part of the fucking... See, the Democrats want a sleepy Joe Biden so they can do what the fuck they want to do, and they can have these shadow governments. His energy is the problem, and they actually say this. This should be terrifying.
Whole life, he repeats things in a way he didn't used to. He doesn't have the nimbleness. He doesn't have and some of this may just be psychological conditioning and not age. He does not have the tolerance and the nimbleness and the desire to be solicitous that he used to have.
8 wars, peace treaties, 220 executive orders, billions of dollars in tariffs. This is the most big, beautiful bill, the most prolific president ever. What would you have him do, Chris? He's not like your brother grabbing ass, getting stepped down. He's actually getting shit done. Cuba, Venezuela, Iran.
I think
And
the
I'm not
repeating
saying
thing is a strategy. That say it
I
over
don't
and
think it's
over
a
again.
strategy. I think it's a condition, and I've experienced it personally with him. So my point is this: I'm not saying that he's incapacitated. The 25th Amendment, which is on my trending list, is a complete waste of time, and Democrats should not be impressed with this as a form of resistance.
I think they still pissed because Biden's cognitive issues, and they don't want to address Biden's cognitive issues in Obama's and Kamala's book, 107 Days, right? Talking about the Democrats, talking about
We are back with some breaking news.
Talking about the Democrats being hypnotized, right? Y'all remember Kamala Harris' book tour where she said she should have stopped Joe Biden and Jill Biden for running for president because the Democratic Party, including herself, were hypnotized.
We are back with some breaking news. This thanks to the president having posted on Truth Social that there was some activity relative to the U.S. blockade there in the Strait of Hormuz. Apparently, a U.S. Navy ship has commandeered an Iranian ship. Akayla, what do you know about this?
Yeah, Alex, I'm just going to read to you some of the president's True Social. He says, today, an Iranian-flagged cargo ship named TOUSKA, nearly 900 feet long and weighing almost as much as an aircraft carrier, tried to get past our naval blockade, and it did not go well for them. He says the U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer actually intercepted that ship in
The missile destroyer, the USS Spruce, intercepted the TOUSKA in the Gulf of Oman and gave them a stop. The Iranian crew refused to listen, so the Navy ship stopped them in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engineering room. Right now, U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel. The TOUSKA is under U.S. Treasury sanctions because of their prior history of illegal activity. Again, a lot of the boats, when people say Iran can make money, what you don't understand is a lot of what has been going on in Iran, like the boat we stopped going from Venezuela that was going over here, are illegal sanctioned tankers that have been sanctioned by the Bidens, by the Russians, by the Chinese. So this was an illegal tanker that has already been previously sanctioned that is now under American control. Double tap at the like
the
button.
Gulf of Oman and gave them a fair warning to stop. He goes on to say the Iranian crew refused to listen, so our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in their engine room. Right now, U.S. Marines have custody of the vessel, he says, and the ship is under U.S. Treasury sanctions, he's claiming, because of their prior history of illegal activity. And he says we have full custody of the ship. And I want to say that the U.S. military has largely talked about some of these tactics that they intend to either board ships or fire at them. That seems to have been the case here with this ship, TOUSKA. But there have been some reports that some vessels linked to Iran have been able to get past this blockade undetected. We have not independently verified those reports, but President Trump certainly touting here the continuation of this blockade, which has caused such tension with Iran after they sought to reopen the strait, but President Trump promised to keep this blockade going.
Double tap, hit the like button. Double tap, hit the like button. Trump on the Straits of Hormuz. And we turning around an Iranian ship.
Open for the remainder of the ceasefire, and President Trump confirms the strait is, quote, fully open and ready for full passage. Our chief foreign correspondent Ian Panels in Tel Aviv with the latest. Ian, what do we know so far?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is important. You've seen how the markets have already reacted. In practice, it doesn't really change anything from the situation over the last week when the U.S. Naval blockade was put into place. I mean, on a technical level, all ships, oil tankers, for example, could have crossed through the Strait of Hormuz over the last week, in or out. Now, The reason they haven't in large numbers is because of concerns about the war, because of concerns about Iran, because of concerns about mines. And it'll take a little while for that confidence to be restored. Iran didn't really control much out there in the Strait of Hormuz, or indeed anywhere in the Gulf of Oman, not least because, as the Trump administration has been saying repeatedly, they went after the Iranian Navy. Yes, they still had fast boats, but they haven't attacked any shipping despite threats to do so. So I think it restores confidence, which is the most important thing. And it shows, as we were talking just earlier, these tit-for-tat confidence-building measures are very important to trying to build a lasting ceasefire. So first of all, we had the ceasefire announced in Lebanon. I guess technically, first of all, we had the ceasefire in Iran, then the ceasefire in Lebanon. Now we're seeing that the Strait of Hormuz is open, even though it actually was already. And that hopefully will then lead to further confidence-building measures and possibly a proper end to the war.
Iran's foreign minister says the Strait of Hormuz is completely open for the remainder of the ceasefire, and President Trump confirms the strait is, quote, fully open and ready for full passage. Our chief foreign correspondent, Ian Panels in Tel Aviv with the latest. Ian, what do we know so far?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think this is
in Lebanon. Representatives from both countries are meeting in a historic meeting is taking place right now between Israel and Lebanon. Representatives from both countries are meeting in Washington, D.C. to discuss a new peace plan. This is the first time talks like this have happened in 33 years. And the goal is to finally disarm Hezbollah and build lasting peace between two neighboring countries. Now, I need you to understand why this is one of the most historic things happening in the world right now. Okay, quick history lesson because this matters. Israel and Lebanon share a border. They have shared cuisine, music, culture. Honestly, more than a lot of people know. But for decades, a terrorist organization called Hezbollah, which is an Iranian proxy and part of this same war that is going on, Iran and Hezbollah have brought Lebanon to an economic, political, and social crisis, the worst ever. Hezbollah is also threatening now to ignite a civil war, and they have spent years launching attacks into Israel, targeting civilians, families, kids. Lebanon couldn't even stop them. Lebanese people have been trapped too. This isn't Israel versus Lebanon. It never was. It's both of our people held hostage by terror. So here's what's happening right now.
Iran.
The United States just brokered a 10-day ceasefire with the goal of disarming Hezbollah, removing the terror threat, and building actual peace between two neighboring countries. The people of Lebanon don't want war. The people of Israel don't want war. Nobody chooses to live next to a rocket launcher. Nobody wants their kids growing up in a bomb shelter. There is a version of the Middle East where Israeli and Lebanese people are neighbors, just real neighbors, where the border isn't a threat. It's just a border where families on both sides can breathe. And that version is closer today than it has ever been. Peace in the Middle East isn't some impossible dream our grandparents gave up on. It's also not just the absence of war. It also means stability and economic prosperity, even for other countries in the world, including the United States. It's a negotiation happening right now. And the more people know about it, the more the world watches, and the harder it is to walk away from. So share this. Talk about it. Because hope doesn't go viral on its own. We have to be the ones to make it. And I really believe that we are watching history, and I don't want you to miss it. A historic meeting is taking place right now between Israel and Lebanon.
So why is this able to come? Why is this important? It's important because this historic peace that's occurring in Lebanon right now would not happen with a Biden. Now, remember what Cuomo just said about Trump's energy. This not what happened with a Biden, because Biden was in power, in office when all this shit broke loose, but he was too sleepy and feckless. So number one, Trump's balls got everybody in line. People will listen and respect America. But why can we have this even peace talks like she discussed the first in 33 years? Well, it's because Iran and the IRGC has been crippled. Double tap, hit the like button, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Celebrate good times, come on. What is Hezbollah? Hezbollah is an Iranian proxy. Remember, I educated you about that. Hezbollah has been funded by Iran because of the JPOCA, that nuclear deal that the Democrats love to talk about on CNN. They always say, we had a deal with Iran. We had a deal. Well, the deal we had with Iran allowed Iran to enrich themselves because they used the Straits of Hormuz and sanctioned ships to make illegal dollars. Joe Biden and Obama allowed $6 billion of unsanctioned dollars back to Iran. So with this new so-called deal, which really wasn't a deal, they were allowed to enrich uranium. It didn't address the proxies like Hezbollah and Lebanon, like we're discussing in this video. I said the non-deal that Biden and Obama had us in did not address the proxy and proxy violence and the uptick of proxy violence after Biden left Afghanistan, right? So Hezbollah is a proxy of Iran to the tune of $700 million. When Biden and Obama allowed them to make money off the Straits of Hormuz, what they did with the money they profited is they funded their proxy armies. They have the Houthis in the Red Sea that they've given drone technology and ballistic missiles to, and $300 million annually. You have Hezbollah with the tune of over 100,000 missiles and $700 million annually. Keep in mind, these terrorist groups had training facilities in Venezuela. Keep in mind, these terrorist groups had relationships with Venezuelan cartels and training facilities in Venezuela, which is one of the major reasons why we invaded Venezuela, which is why Maria Mercado got the Nobel Peace Prize and gave it to Donald Trump, because of the proxy relationship with Venezuela. Why we took those 30 oil tankers, one of the most famous oil tanker sanctions we took was a boat leaving Venezuela with illegal technology given to them by Iran that allowed them to hide from satellite and naval ships. This is how far the sanctioned traffic of oil was going from Venezuela to the Middle East, to China, and to Russia. We stopped a whole lot. So you have the proxies of the Houthis, Hezbollah, and Hamas. Hamas carried out October 7th. I argue that it is lazy and racist to suggest that Bibi Netanyahu and Israel had something to do with October 7th. I say those are racist, low-brow, low-level intellectuals who haven't studied geopolitics, who don't understand the political ramifications and power vacuum that Joe Biden left when he left Afghanistan, and the uptick of proxy violence because Joe Biden allowed Iran and its proxies to enrich themselves from the Straits of Hormuz. They built more bombs. They enriched more uranium. They got emboldened to commit October 7th, all under Joe Biden. Why can we have peace agreements now in Lebanon? Because of our invading because of our invading Iran, we could have crippled and destroyed the Iranian proxy army relationship. Without the Straits of Hormuz, this is what some people just don't understand why the closing of the Straits of Hormuz is such a success. Without the Straits of Hormuz being open, Iran doesn't have the money to do what? Iran doesn't have the money to rebuild all of the planes, trains, and automobiles America has destroyed. Iran can't rebuild its navy without the Straits of Hormuz. Iran can't rebuild its air force without the Straits of Hormuz. Iran can't pay its soldiers without the Straits of Hormuz. Iran can't fund its proxy army if the Straits of Hormuz are closed down. Do you guys understand the tactical things that Trump, a lot of you may not, because they don't talk about it, right? They don't talk about it on television. Grant Harvard said, dude, you're telling complete lies. Please, you got 30 seconds, brother, to tell us what is the truth. 30 seconds to share the truth with the audience. What's up with MAGA hating the truth? Can you tell me what the truth is? You got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds to tell me the truth. Somebody else said, where is he reading this from? No, I got all of this knowledge in my brain. It's different than the robot troll. He didn't come with the truth. Iran still control the Strait. Oh, so you just trolling. Let me get you up out of here. This whole segment is about how we are controlling the Strait. This whole segment is about how America just made a ship of Iranian descent turn around. We blew up the engine room. Yesterday, we made the Chinese turn around. Now we're talking about peace in Lebanon and Hezbollah, the Iranian proxy group in Lebanon that continue to bomb Israel. So a lot of the times I try to give you guys the through line from Biden leaving Afghanistan, Biden leaving a power vacuum in the Middle East, and what happened on October 7th. What you guys don't know about is what happened leading up to October 7th with Lebanon and Hezbollah and their what do you think they were doing with those 100,000 missiles? Now we actually have a video where you can see logistically where Lebanon is located, how it borders Israel, and how would you feel if Lebanon, just like Putin in the Ukraine, if your bordering country has been given hundreds of thousands of ballistic missiles by your enemy Iran, and they have a terrorist proxy group in Lebanon bombing you, fighting you on a daily basis. No one ever talks about the true logistics of what's actually going on in the Middle East, right? No one ever talks about the true logistics of what's going on. So in Lebanon, you had an Iranian proxy by the name of Hezbollah, who was getting $700 million annually, and they had over 100,000, in some reports 130,000, in some reports 150,000 ballistic missiles, right? Like these are realities, right? When they say Israel is the boogeyman, Israel is the bad guy, they don't tell you the truth about Israel was bordered with the country called Lebanon. They had a terrorist group called Hezbollah who was being funded by Iran to the tune of almost $1 billion a year. When you hear that, it changes the dynamic. It doesn't, I don't want you to change what side you're on, but it's important that you have all of the information before you say some of the idiotic things that you say. Listen to what she says. It's the first time in 33 years we can have the peace agreement between Israel and Lebanon, or even have talks about it. The only reason we could talk about peace between Israel and Lebanon is because Iran has been crippled to the point where they can no longer fund Hezbollah. Hello, they can no longer fund. This is why we went to Iran to cut off the head of the snake. When they attacked Israel on October 7th, what became eerily true to America and anybody that loved them, that was under this jihad, is that they were not going to stop until they continued. They did 9/11 where they took down the towers. Then they did October 7th. What became clear to Israel and America is that the Iranian regime that has swore jihad since 1979 was not going to stop until they continued to kill Americans and Israelis. That is the actual fact that we learned on October 7th. And what we came to the agreement way back then is that we had to go to Iran, which is why we had the 12-day war. Everybody said, I'm surprised Trump going to. I'm not surprised. I knew we was going to Iran when we went to Venezuela. I knew we was going to Iran when they attacked Israel October 7th, because the truth was we could no longer fight the proxies. We couldn't allow Iran to make billions of dollars via the StraitOfHormuz and get a nuclear weapon and enrich their proxies to the point they take over the Middle East with this ideology. Jihad version of Islam is dangerous for everybody. This is what they did during the Biden. This is not 20 years ago. This is not 50 years ago. Under the Biden administration, right before President Trump only been in office 18 months. Can we have a real talk this morning? President Trump only been in office 18 months. This is what they've been doing under Biden, because Biden left Afghanistan. We were in Afghanistan for 20 years. We were the police. We were the ones who stopped the proxy violence. You can't blow up Israel if America is in Iraq and America is in Afghanistan, and we have bases and allies all across the Middle East, and we're there 20 years in multiple wars. The proxies were basically arrested. They couldn't do shit. But when America leaves Iraq, when America leaves Afghanistan, wholeheartedly leaves the region, Iran celebrated. Iran elected a hardliner under Biden. Biden had a chance to get the JCPOA back in line. He couldn't get it. He failed in Vienna in 2021. Iran elects a hardliner. He celebrates. Iran celebrates and calls Biden a pussy, talks shit about America, and Israel said we're going to attack. Iran celebrates when when Joe Biden leaves Afghanistan. See, look, the Democrats and the Republicans think we're the only one who saw Biden fail in Afghanistan. Biden lost the first debate. They kicked him out and brought in Kamala Harris. Why? Because Trump was able to assassinate Biden's character on his failures and leaving Afghanistan. If everybody remember the first debate, Trump assassinated Biden because all of us saw the video of how Biden left Afghanistan. And Trump said, "You're not a leader, but look what you did with Afghanistan." They take Biden out, they put in Kamala Harris. What I argued from day one, what Maga said is, hey, America, you're not the only one who watched Biden fail in Afghanistan. Iran watched it. Fuck, Iraq watched it. Syria watched it. All of them are proxies. They watched America leave billions of dollars, leave what they tell between their ass. This is so simple. We're not the only ones who saw Biden fuck up. We're not the only ones who saw Biden fall asleep. The Iranians celebrated us leaving the region. And when we left the region, and you notice I haven't brought up Israel. I haven't brought up the Jews. Where's the magical evil Jew? It's not, this has nothing to do with a magical evil Jew. When Biden left the region with a feckless, ballless presidency, he created a power vacuum in Iran. And then when he did not get a deal, he refused to put sanctions on Iran, and he didn't get a deal. When Trump was president, he sanctioned Iran. They couldn't make money off the Straits of Hormuz. Biden refused to get a deal, didn't sanction Iran. They were able to make money, enrich uranium, empower their proxies, and that's when they attacked. If you look at chess, if you look at math, it has nothing to do with no evil Jew. It has everything to do, if you ever play Risk or war games, then you know it was the perfect opportunity to strike for Iran. It had nothing to do with Bibi Netanyahu. It had nothing to do, it was the perfect opportunity. They were weak. Biden left them weak. This is why Russia invaded Ukraine. This is why Iran invaded Israel via the proxy armies. They were weak. Under Biden, we were weak. And Biden didn't respond to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Biden didn't respond to Iran's proxy army. Do you know, not only did the proxies attack October 7th Israel, but why everybody wants you to believe in the Israeli boogeyman, that when we left Afghanistan, they kept attacking us too. They attacked our bases. They attacked our infrastructure to the point where Biden finally had to fire back on Iranian proxies. You guys don't even know any of this. You haven't studied the history because you listen to Candace Owens, you listen to Tucker Owens, you listen to ABC and CNN. The proxy violence, the uptick of proxy violence before October 7th got so bad of them attacking Israel and American installations in the Middle East. Finally, Biden had to respond. You guys don't realize it went crazy in the Middle East. They were hundreds of thousands, all these thousands of missiles. They took over the Red Sea. After Biden left, the Houthis, this is affecting when you talk about commerce and people say, oh, they can go to Saudi Arabia. They're not going to Saudi Arabia. This is why everybody got to come to America to buy oil, because the Houthis took over the Red Sea. The Houthis took over the Red Sea with drones, bombs, and money from Iran. This is not a lie. This is not a lie. Listen, bro. I know they have black Zionists. Okay, I know about all these people are idiots. All these people are idiot. All you people are idiot. Iran kicking Trump out. All you people are idiots. Please explain. All you people are idiots. Let's get the idiots out of here. They can't follow along. They can't follow along. They just want to hear. They want to hear talking points. They want to hear talking points. They want to hear talking points. Anything that's complex, anything that anybody knows anything about, they don't like, right? They just want to hear talking points. Iran is winning. Just things with just one syllable. You can't give some of these idiots anything with more than one syllable. You know what I'm saying? They just want to hear talking points. Let's listen to the truth. Marco, and then what you're going to see is Marco Rubio doing a great job. I'm so proud of Marco Rubio, JD Vance, Trump. I mean, not only in Iran, not only in Lebanon and Hezbollah, but Cuba, Venezuela. I mean, this administration, Jared Kushner, Steve Wilkov, for those of you who know these names, for those of you who know what the job that they've done to accomplish the successes, like you don't know enough to be angry. Really? They honestly don't know enough to be angry. They don't know enough about geopolitics. Yeah. They don't know enough to be angry, man. God damn.
Representatives from both countries are meeting in Washington, D.C. to discuss a new peace plan. This is the first time talks like this have happened in 33 years, and the goal is to finally disarm Hezbollah and build lasting peace between two neighboring countries. Now, I need you to understand why this is one of the most historic things happening in the world right now. Okay, quick history lesson because this matters. Israel and Lebanon share a border.
Look how close this is. Israel, Lebanon. When they say Israel's the bad guy, Israel's the boogeyman, this is Lebanon. Hezbollah is here, a terrorist army that is funded to the tune of almost $1 billion a year by Iran. Hundreds of thousands. Whenever you've heard about Hezbollah, whenever you've heard about that Iranian proxy army, Hezbollah, the $700 million, the hundreds of thousands of missiles. Now you have a frame of reference. Holy shit, you might say right now. Holy shit, $1 billion was going here. Holy shit, they had 100,000 missiles here. Holy shit. This changes my understanding of the whole thing. It should, if you have a brain, if I only had a brain.
They have shared cuisine, music, culture. Honestly, more than a lot of people know. But for decades, a terrorist organization called Hezbollah, which is an Iranian proxy and part of this same war that is going on, Iran and Hezbollah have brought Lebanon to an economic, political, and social crisis. The worst.
So just like in Iran, just like in Iraq, who's surprised, bro? Who studies geopolitics? Who is surprised, bro? Just like in South America. What do we have in South America? We have the new generation Jalisco cartel. Does anybody really understand this shit I'm talking about? Or y'all just here because I'm handsome? I know I'm handsome. We have the new generation Jalisco cartel. Why do I bring that up? Because she is making an argument that the terrorist group Hezbollah has affected the economy in Lebanon. I will support her argument and give and up you $5 like we playing poker. I call and I raise you. I raise you with the new generation Jalisco cartel. I raise you with the cartels of South America, how they have altered culture, how they have altered politics, how they have altered economies and inflation in Colombia, in Bolivia, in Venezuela. Who understands this? I see your Lebanon, I see your Hezbollah, and I raise you new generation Jalisco cartel. I raise you new generation Jalisco cartel. It is not for those of you who would argue with her and say, oh no, Hamas, hey, I mean, Hezbollah didn't do nothing in Lebanon. How is Hezbollah affecting the economy? I raise her new generation Jalisco cartel. Who remembers what happened when they killed Muncho? Who remembers when they killed El Muncho? What happened to the economy in Mexico? What happened to the roads? Over 200 cars blocking the roads on fire. Where there was wars about power. To this day, because we're in Iran, we still don't know what happened with the power struggle with the cartels in South America right across the border, fighting over power after El Muncho was murdered. Double tap, hit the like button. I just want to say to you and everybody listening who may disagree with this beautiful young lady, that it not only is happening in Lebanon with these terrorist groups, it is not only happening in Iraq, it is not only happening in Yemen, it is not only happening in Syria, it is also happening in places like Venezuela, which is why we went there, Bolivia, you know what I'm saying, Colombia, where these cartels rule the day. This is why you have inflation in South America. This is why you have people being under dictatorships like Maduro, because of Colombian cartels New generation Jalisco cartels and cocaine. It's not just in Lebanon, sister. I just wanted to support her argument for people who may not understand.
Ever. Hezbollah is also threatening now to ignite a civil war, and they have spent years launching attacks into Israel, targeting civilians, families, kids. Lebanon couldn't even stop them. Lebanese people have been trapped too. This isn't Israel versus Lebanon. It never was.
Just like Iran. Iran people have been trapped too. What have I said the whole time? Iran is a beautiful, diverse, complex place. There was Christians in Iran. There were Jews in Iran, Catholics in Iran, over 2 to 3 million, right? And they got drove out. People don't understand Iran. They only listen to the liberal media. They only listen to the talking points. But the IRGC, the morality police, see, they prosecuted the Jews in Iran. They prosecuted the Christians in Iran. They beat up gay people. They beat up women. See, you don't understand the complexities of Iran. You don't understand the complexities of Lebanon. You don't understand how people lived under persecution in Venezuela. Double tap, hit the like button. Who's the baddest motherfucker in the land? Perfect Time Podcast is my man.
It's both of our people held hostage by terror. So here's what's happening right now. The United States just brokered a 10-day ceasefire with the goal of disarming Hezbollah, removing the terror threat, and building actual peace between two neighboring countries. The people of Lebanon don't want war. The people of Israel don't want war. Nobody chooses to live next to a rocket launcher. Nobody wants their kids growing up in a bomb shelter. There is a version of the Middle East where Israeli and Lebanese people are neighbors, just real neighbors, where the border isn't a...
So somebody said persecution that began under the Shah. So Curtis, you probably new here. So shout out to you, brother. Hit the like, share, and subscribe, man. Join the channel, man. I need more members, man. Everybody watching right now, let me get just a few people, 5 people to become members. To get some people join some members. The other day, Bridge gave out some memberships. But if you were a member and you regularly watch the channel, then you would understand that we've continuously broke down. When we first started covering this, what I did, my brother, is educate my audience on the difference between Shia and Sunni Muslim. Because I believe that's what one of Americans' first failures about understanding the Middle East is a lot of Americans don't understand the difference between the Shia and the Sunni Muslim. So when I explain the difference between the Shia and the Sunni, I had to go back before the Shah was installed. So we went back in history to 600 when Muhammad passed away and the split in Islam, right? And we talked about the Shia and the Sunni, when there was a split, the blood lineage, and the person that they picked. What I also talked about is I love American history. Do you love American history? I love American history. So I study history. I love global history, geopolitics, which is why I have this channel, which is why my channel was so successful, which is probably why YouTube brought you here, right? So when you study World War II, you learn about, World War I, World War II, and the Allied powers, and we defeated Hitler and the Nazis and the Germany, couldn't have an army and things like that. And in 1944, which you may not know, I hope you know, because a lot of intelligent people watch my channel. Again, thank you, YouTube, for driving such intelligent people here with great commentary. In 1944, Russia was the first one to take over Iran. Russia wanted access to warm water. So after World War II, now keep in mind, this is something I want you to keep in mind, because this is a complex thing. This is not something you take in just quickly and respond to. You may have to join the channel, like, share, and subscribe, right? So in 1944, Russia took over Iran. But the thing was, they were our friend because Russia was our ally, and we had just defeated the greatest threat to the world, right? And we were okay with Russia having Iran because we wanted one of the allied powers to have access to those ports and have access to those resources because it would be shared with us. So it made sense for Russia, because they were logistically proximity to power, for Russia to have a foothold in Iran because of the resources. Totally made sense. What changed, right? After World War II, we were friends, but then you have the birth of communism and you have the Red Scare, right? One of the sidebars is I had to talk with my wife. When I'm doing my research, I had to talk with my wife. She's younger. She's in her 30s. I asked my wife, did you know there was such thing as East and West Germany? And my wife didn't know. My wife didn't know that there was a such thing as an East and West Germany, right? Keep that in the side. Put a tab in that. So in 1944, Russia has Iran, but it's cool because they're not our enemy. There's no communism. There's no Red Scare. But what does happen is there is a Red Scare. What does happen is there is communism, and we create a boogeyman, just like they create a Jewish boogeyman. They create a black boogeyman. It's called black fatigue. You know, they create narratives in the media to sell policy and to get things done and to keep you asleep. I'm trying to help you and keep you awake. So they even arrested people. And during the Red Scare, people were tapping phones and telling on their brother and sister for being, you're a dirty commie. Like, it was crazy. So what else happened during this time? The invention of the secret police. So after World War II, you don't have a KGB. You don't have a CIA. You don't have a MI6. But by 1953, all these things are in place. The world has changed. The world is changing again now. I'm laying a foundation for something so you can better understand the changes that are occurring today. So there was a change in geopolitics, right? From Russia being our friend and accepting their ideology and them not being this spookism, correct? So then we put in this narrative that Russia is bad and communism is scary and the red are coming to get you, right? So, and then with that, you have the envelopment of the secret police. You must keep this also in the tab of your mind. A lot of people talking to you about this subject don't understand this. So put a tab in the KGB. Put a tab in MI6, put a tab in the CIA. Because the reason we start talking about this is because one of the people who brought this up said the Dirty Shah. The Dirty Shah came when? You know it. You brought it up in 1953. But what you left out is the fact that the Dirty Shah was installed by who? The Dirty Shah was installed by the CIA and the MI6, which did not exist in 1944, post-World War II, when Russia took over Iran. So what you have to do is understand the geopolitical envelopment of the world, how the British Empire became the American Empire, and how we felt we needed to have Iran, and we used our new secret police coming from the OSS, you know, and that this is coming from the mafia. If you remember in World War II, this comes up a lot. This comes up a lot recently when we talk about Jeffrey Epstein. When we talk about Jeffrey Epstein, we talk about the mafiosos of the World War II era, right? That there were two mobs. There was an Italian, there was the mob and the mafia, because this one is the Jews and one is the Italians, right? And during World War II, they actually released, and this, I don't know why this came up with Jeffrey Epstein. If you look at the books on Jeffrey Epstein, they tie Jeffrey Epstein back to the Jewish mafia, and then you got to talk about the Italian mafia. So in World War II, we actually let the mafia out of prison. We needed the mafia to, or the mob, because we use the Italians. So y'all help me in the chat, because they're two different things. People use these terms interchangeably, but they're two different things. The Jewish mafia and the mob, they're two different things. So we use the Italian mob to secure the ports in America, because America, the soldiers couldn't secure the ports. And this is as we talk about the Middle East. So this is the birth of the CIA. This is why I'm giving you this background, because the mafia is what becomes the CIA. We have the OSS. So the mafia, we use the mafia in Italy. We use the mafia in Italy to defeat Hitler and Mussolini. So we use the mafia in American ports, and we use the mafia in Italy. So there's a transition in geopolitics. We have the OSS, who becomes the CIA, and then the CIA and MI6 is who installs the Dirty Shah in 1953. In 1953, you have secret police. Now, we have the KGB at this time. We have communism. We have the Red Scare. We have the CIA. We have the MI6. We have secret police. And now we install the Dirty Shah in Iran. And we take over Iran. And we get Iran, and we stay in Iran until 1979, and we caused inflation, and there's all this dirty backdoor dealing in Iran, and that's what puts a bitter taste in the Iranian people, and they elect the Ayatollah Khomeini in 1979. This was political. For those of you who may not know, it was a political election. They elected the Ayatollah Khomeini. Now, 30 days later is when they install the morality police and the IRGC. The people didn't elect that. That was a stealing of power. I always argue that they put in that version of Islam to keep power. Ayatollah Khomeini kept power that whole time. Now, what else to keep in mind? What else happened in 1979? As I tell you about World War I, World War II, the creation of the secret police, the changing of the guard, the changing of hands. What else happened in 1979? So in the beginning of 1979, Ayatollah Khomeini came to power. But what happened in December of 79, before the hostage situation in the 1980s? What happened in the end of 1979? Russia invades Afghanistan. In December of 1979, Russia invades Afghanistan after having control of Iran and access to warm water. Russia invades Afghanistan for similar purposes and stays in Afghanistan for 20 years until when? Until when? Until when? If you count, Russia stays in Afghanistan until 9/11. And then who goes to Afghanistan for 20 years? Russia stays in Afghanistan until 9/11. If you understand the region, Russia stays in that, and I still haven't brought up Israel or the Jews or some secret Jewish boogeyman and how the Jews are using Trump. If you remember in Trump's first administration, they said Trump was in bed with Putin. Now in this administration, they say Trump is in bed with Bibi. But those are lazy intellectuals who don't understand everything I explained to you. Russia invades Afghanistan 1979. They stay there 20 years. We train bin Laden. We give bin Laden missiles to help defeat the Russians in Afghanistan. We create bin Laden. We create the Taliban. Is anybody listening? I love history. I love these stories. Russia goes to Afghanistan in 1979 when the Ayatollah Khomeini takes over Iran and America is kicked out of the Middle East, and then Russia gets a footholding back. So ever since we got kicked out of Iran, we've been wanting back in the game. So we wanted to get back to that oil. Russia was in Afghanistan. We got the opium crisis. Remember when I told you last time, I said Iran has an opium crisis. China has an opium crisis. When we were in Afghanistan, soldiers were guarding poppy fields, and we had an opiate crisis explode in America. Shh. Shh. They don't like when I talk about that part. Shh. Don't. This is a safe space. No one is talking about how many Iranians are addicted to opium. And that Iran had explosion in opium addiction. Not recently, but for the past 10 years. They've had a problem with opiates in Iran. Shh. China. Shh. What you never hear about China, what you never hear about Iran and these countries is how large the percentage of the people who are addicted to opium. Somebody in my chat said going back to the Silk Road. So I'm just giving y'all a little background, man. I love you guys. My brother said, why do you all ignore the 5 Muslim countries who invaded Israel, Egypt, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Jordan in 1948, way before all that? Keep doing what you're doing, man. That's a good point. Keep doing what you're doing, man. When you support evil dictators, the consequences, man, what's going on in Iran, it's our fault. See, even though we had this complex conversation, somebody still ignores the truth. And that's what's sad about the world, because what I've said about Iran is that I want Iran to be the great country that it used to be, where Muslims were welcome, but Christians were also welcome, Jews were welcome, Catholics were welcome. And like algebra was created, you have some of the greatest science, some of the greatest thespians, some of the greatest psychologists, the greatest thinkers in Iran. So there's been a stiflement on the intelligence and creativity of that region by this version of Islam. I argue that the human spirit will always break free, like in all the science fiction movies that we love. What's happening in Iran is the human spirit wants to break free. The human spirit is tired of being bound and held and put in the box of jihadist Islam, where you can't love your gay brother, where you can't support your daughter if she wants to dance. Like that is 19th century antiquated thinking. What I have argued every time I've discussed this subject is that Islam can be more expansive and inclusive to everyone, that Muslims and Islam no longer want to be hardliners, that they want to practice the same version of Islam that they practice when they become American. When you come to America, you can be Islam, right? But it is not okay to hate Jews. It is not okay to hate Christians. So why is it that is people from the Middle East move to America, drive their Prius, go to the mosque and be good Muslims, and they don't kill anybody in America? It's because you can be that same version of Muslim in Iran. Doesn't that hurt when I say it like that? You can be that same version of Muslim. I said there are plenty of Middle Eastern hardliners who come to America and they remain Muslims. They remain good Muslims, but they don't commit jihad. If you can do that as an American, then why can't you do that as an Iranian? And I argue that the American, I argue that the human existence wants that. And that's why it's not going to take this ground troops. It's not going to take, because the Iranian people, they murdered a young man in the square. They killed Marsha Amini for not wearing her hijab correctly. The young people are protesting. The young people are saying, you will not define Islam for me anymore. And that's what's going to change the world. And that's why I bring up East and West Germany. And I know somebody said they was born in 67. Some of you understand, some of you don't. But my wife didn't even remember that there was a East and West Germany. To support my argument, what I want to say to you guys is that the same thing is true about Iran. One day, my son, my kids won't even remember about the separate Iran. They will only know an Iran where Christians are welcome, Catholics are welcome. They won't remember an Iran that we know. My wife doesn't remember East and West Germany, East and West Berlin. Gorbachev tear down that wall, and it wasn't that long ago. No one is saying we need to split Germany. No one is saying we should go back to when there was an East and West Germany. The culture has changed. The human psyche, the human condition has changed. We evolved. Gorbachev, tear down that wall. We evolved. We evolved so much, my wife doesn't even know about East and West Germany. How many people watching remember East and how contentious it was? There was movies. You would get arrested. There were families separated. There were families separated by East and West, by the Berlin Wall. There were families separated. Don't that sound fucking crazy? If you just think about it, if you don't know it sounds fucking crazy. Just like you got a wall in Israel and Gaza, it sounds fucking crazy. There was a Berlin Wall. It sounds fucking crazy. He said I was born in 71. So you know, but my wife is 30, bro. My wife in her 30s. And she's intelligent, educated. But you ask some people in their 30s, ask some people in their 40s, what reference do they have for when the wall fell? You remember. Gorbachev, Reagan, Gorbachev, tear down that wall. I argue the same thing will be true in Iran. That's my prayer, bro. Out of all the bullshit, I love Trump. I want Trump to win, America to win, America first, MAGA. I'm America first and MAGA. But my prayer is that, you know, Iran and people, that the guy who got murdered, the girl who got murdered, that the people of Iran is free, just like the people of Venezuela, and they don't have to live under a theocracy and morality police. Fucking morality police, a fucking theocracy. That's my prayer, bro. That's my prayer, bro. I believe the Iranian people deserve it, and the Iranian people are much more vast and complex than they would tell you on CNN. CNN don't tell you about the Christians in Iran, the Catholics, the Jews. There were 2 to 3 million, and they've been ran out by that oppressive regime. They don't tell you about any of that stuff. But I gotta go. This has been a great show today. I gotta go. This has been a great show today. I really thank everybody. I'm live tomorrow at 1 p.m. Mega Monday. Don't miss tomorrow. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Tomorrow is a big show. Mega Monday. Tomorrow we live. Don't miss the show. Double tap, hit the like button, everybody, right now. Tomorrow, Mega Monday, live at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is the perfect timing podcast. We had a great show today. Muha. What's up with you, AK247? Mahalo, first time, aloha. I love you, brother. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you for supporting the channel. It means a lot to a YouTube creator. Everybody watching right now, thank you. Do me a big favor, hit the like button, subscribe. If you're so inclined, become a member. We doing a Somalian special right now. That's a membership. We got a special membership. So I do member only live streams, and some of the content can get pretty racy, right? And some of the discussions can be very adult. So we do a members only live stream, but you got to become a member. You got to become a member, and it's worth it. When you subscribe, you get a plus sign, and you become a member, $5 a month. It's called a Somalian special. AK47 just sent gift memberships. Thank you, AK247. Shout out to you, Anthony Anderson. Received the gift membership. Double tap it, the like button. That's how we get down, man. So we do the member only live streams, man. Also, when you a member, the chat go crazy. So when you a member, your comment get lit up. You know, sometime I'll be on my tangent. I don't get to see all the comments, but when you a member, your name is lit up. The channel gets millions of views. We're talking about geopolitical debate on a YouTube channel that's growing fast every day. If you love debating, if you're a growing YouTuber and you want to get your comment seen and you want your channel to be noticed, you want to become a member on the Perfect Timing Podcast channel. This is what I used to do. You want to become a member, you want to support, you want to super chat, you want to build a relationship with the content creator, you want to participate in this conversation. This channel gets millions of views. If you want your name seen, this is where you want to be if you want to be seen. Don't just take my word for it. Go to the channel. If you go to my channel, you're going to see hundreds of thousands, 200,000, you know, in 1 week, millions of views, right? You're going to see the channel growing substantially in subscribers, memberships every day. And you're going to say to yourself, this is the place. This is truly the place. He has created a platform. This is what hard work does. He has created a platform and an avenue for us to have a conversation. I call it the Perfect Timing Podcast because I believe it's the perfect place and the perfect time to have this discussion. And I feel a lot of people agree with me. So tomorrow at 1 p.m., I see you guys for Mega Monday. I call it Mega Monday. Trump news, giving Democrats the boo-hoo-hoo blues. I call it Mega Monday. Huh? Y'all come. Y'all come. We have a discussion. We debate. We roast. We highlight the ignorance. We do our best to highlight the truth. And it's up to you to make the choice. I say the MAGA dollar is strong. The petrodollar is strong. I say you vote with your dollar. You vote with your conscience. I say God bless America. God bless the president. God, family, and football. And I say I love you. I love you and thank you for your support. Sunday evening, and here you are supporting me, getting memberships, hitting the like, hitting the subscribe. I don't have a super chat yet. But God bless you and I love you anyway. I need super chats. We need to support the channel monetarily also. Hit the super chat. Thank you and I love you for watching me on a Sunday evening, listening to the truth. And to everyone who I see in anticipation for tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Mega Monday, I thank you now. God bless you. God bless America. God bless the memory of Charlie Kirk. God bless the president. Y'all have a good night.